when there's no more room in hell.
The dead will start a podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the brand new episode 49 of No More Room in Hell. I say brand new because, goddamn, it's been a long time since we recorded, but this is indeed episode 49. So, no, it is not literally a new podcast. I am Mike, in case you forgot. Joining me, as always, as a co-host, it's Mr. Venom. What's up, Venom? How are you?
Greetings and salutations, zombie lovers, or maybe I should be saying demon lovers. But either way, we'll figure it out when we talk about the movies. Yeah, I'm doing pretty damn good, Mike. How the hell are you doing?
I am doing well. I think the last time we recorded, it was like 100 degrees out. Today it was like 39 degrees this morning.
I was actually warm. It was up to like 75 today, which I know doesn't sound bad, but for December, it's a little warm. I was surprised. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not complaining. You know me. I love the heat. The hotter, the better.
Yeah, man, we rolled through two like whole holidays between recording, so
yeah,
maybe we'll speak on that if we have anything interesting to report from them. But before all that, let me introduce the other regular co-host on this show, and that would be Derek. How are you doing, Derek?
I'm doing good because I'm a sexy boy. Sexy boy. Hi, Michael. What's going on?
The Heartbreak Kid, Derek. Yeah, no, it's going well. It's going well, man. It's like, at first I was like, we have a lot to catch up on, and I was like, no, there's too much to catch up on, so I don't know how much catching up we should even be doing, but...
Did you know that Hugo Stiglitz is in one of these movies?
Is he?
Have you not heard of the name Hugo Stiglitz? Everyone has heard of Hugo Stiglitz.
Derek, what the hell have you been up to these past couple of months?
Fucking working.
Working? Lots of working?
The man.
Every like night and day?
Bro.
How about you, Venom? What? I guess with you, I know a little more because we're still doing fresh cuts every week, so we're pretty much still putting something out there at least.
Yeah, me. I mean, I've been shopping, believe it or not. For those who don't know, I got a new job at the start of this year, and it's the highest paying job I've ever gotten. My first 6-figure job. So, obviously with the wife and I, not having kids, we have 2 incomes. We both make a lot of money. So I've just been shopping. I've actually discovered that I have a Funko Pop problem. I have an addiction there because I can't seem to stop fucking buying them lately. And not just like new ones. Like I'm going out and buying like expensive ones that I'm hoping will go up in value over time. But yeah, just a lot of shopping. I'm almost done Christmas shopping, believe it or not. I'm one of those guys that shops early. So as we're sitting here on December 2nd, I literally maybe need 3 or 4 more things and I'm done.
I just gotta get one more thing myself.
That's nice. That's how you can really enjoy December. Get that Christmas shopping done, do it on, if you don't want to deal with the crowds on Black Friday, do it online. You also have Cyber Monday the following week. You can take care of almost all your shopping. And obviously, because all my family's back east and I don't have any kids, I don't really buy a lot of gifts or I don't have a lot of people to buy gifts for. So the people that I do buy gifts for, I tend to go overboard. So Yeah.
I enjoy them.
Oh,
Do
hey.
you have an email where all of us should send our wish list to?
Hey,
I have Venom's list. It's connected to my
I actually went
Amazon.
around. I went around a couple of years ago asking all of my friends for their wish lists, and I got a bunch of them, but a bunch I never got. So I still, I'm not tooting my own horn here by any stretch, but I am very generous. I grew up poor. For those who don't know, I grew up incredibly poor. And now, as an adult, to have all this dispensable income, because, I'm not worried about the future. I've got two 401ks. I got an IRA. I've got stocks. I am prepared for retirement, my friend. But I've just never had this much dispensable income. So that's why I've just been going crazy lately over the last definitely over this year, but even over the last couple of years, like, I towards the end of my time at DirecTV, I was making a decent salary, so I was still buying a lot of gifts over the last couple of years. Derek can attest to that. But yeah, I try to take care of my friends, and now I can afford to do it. So I feel like Daddy Rockefeller.
One of these days, one of these nights.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I did some Black Friday shopping as well. That it's usually the main time of the year where I'll go out and get like 4Ks or something. So I grabbed a handful of those, and I kind of do most of my shopping like right away, but then I look for like lingering sales because the whole concept around Black Friday has changed so much over the years where it's really not like it's not even really a Black Friday and Cyber Monday anymore. It's basically once Thanksgiving is over, it's like you're getting emailed discounts and promos pretty much constantly until Christmas. So like even though what I try to do is I do the brunt of the shopping for other people first, so that's out of the way, and then once I know how much I have to spend on myself, I kind of like parse it out to where like I don't want to spend too much because then I know more sales are coming, and by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm like, damn, I kind of slowly built up an arsenal of gifts under this tree.
Oh, you got your tree up already?
Yeah, this year we got it up early. We don't have like a lot of people have like a certain tradition or custom of like when to do everything. For us it's kind of like random every year. That goes for like even like Halloween with decorations and stuff. It's kind of just like what we feel like doing that year.
Yeah, exactly. Same with me. I don't have any preset dates or plans. I was thinking about getting a tree this weekend, but I got a lot of poker. I'm going to be busy. So I'll probably do it either during the week next week or next weekend. But yeah, because I get real trees. So, I don't want to get it too early and then it's all brown and shitty by the time Christmas gets here. So yeah, usually 2 to 3 weeks before the day, I'll go start looking for trees. And yeah, I love my real trees. I just love that smell all over my living room. It's awesome.
Yeah, real trees are better, I think.
Oh, yeah.
If you can handle like all the maintenance, making pine needles, making sure it's watered and all that. It's
the expense. Cool. I mean, they're not cheap anymore. I remember, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I could get a good 6-foot Douglas fir for like $40-$45.
They're expensive
last year, the cheapest 6-foot tree I could find was 70. And I'm like, damn, $70 for something that's going to be in my house for 3 or 4 weeks. Well, whatever. I'm a festive motherfucker, so I don't spare expense when it comes to decorations. I just love it.
Yeah. I get a test of how much they are because I work at Home Depot, and they're fucking expensive.
They are pricey, yeah.
Speaking of being festive and stuff, it seems like this year we're getting a healthy amount of Christmas horror, which is cool. Because
it's usually like a lot of times we'll get like indie stuff, but this year we're getting like big name shit, which is nice. So that's cool.
Yeah, and
even a John Wick Santa movie.
Yeah, and I kind of get more excited for Christmas horror than even Halloween stuff because I don't really watch much Christmas anything outside of the season of Christmas. Like it's pretty much like December is when I watch, like whether it's Christmas horror or just Christmas movies in general. Like I don't watch them year round the way I do like I would watch a Halloween movie anytime because it's not holiday specific, but I always get excited for December because I'm like, okay, what new stuff that I've never seen before is gonna hit, And this year, it seems like it's going to be a good year for that.
Yeah. I'm the complete opposite. I watch Christmas shit all fucking year. Not just horror, my friends. I mean, like some of my favorite Christmas specials. Like I'll watch It's Christmas Time, Charlie Brown, like in July. I'll watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in February. It's like I just those specials, the old cartoon specials from the 70s and 80s, the ones that I grew up with, they just mean so much to me, and I still get that Christmassy feeling. Like if I watch The Year Without a Santa Claus in August, I still kind of get that slightly festive feeling, and I start to get excited for the holiday too. It sounds like Christmas is my favorite holiday, even though I solidly say it's Halloween, because for me it's Halloween year round. I think for all of us it's Halloween year round, so of course that's going to be our favorite day. But Christmas, being an only child, and not really like I said, I grew up poor, so not having a lot. My parents did what they could, and I always appreciated everything they did, because I knew what it was doing. Especially now as an adult, I know what it was doing to their bank accounts, spending the amount of money they did on just me. So they kind of instilled that Christmassy, love, that nostalgic love for the holiday that I don't think will ever go away. I'm a 52-year-old man with no kids right now, and I still get giddy around Christmas time.
Yeah, that's cool. I once you become an adult around the holidays, you also realize like what a task it is to center around everything on this one big day, when a lot of people like don't get any additional days off. It's like you have that one holiday day off and you got to go right back to like your work routine and everything. It's like, yeah, it's crazy, man. Because I was going to say, during most of my working life, I've always had like either the day before off with it or the day after, at least to give some type of relief.
Oh yeah, I've always had it off, but unfortunately for me, my wife working in the medical field, she doesn't really have a choice on when she can work. Last year, she actually worked on Christmas Day, and it kind of sucked. I'll happily admit that it just kind of sucked to be alone on Christmas, even though you're not truly alone, because you have loved ones in your life, be they out of state or, my wife working, just 15 minutes down the road. But the point is, I remember just sitting here watching A Christmas Story by myself and, drinking some eggnog and, enjoying some herbal pleasures. And I just remember getting slightly depressed. Like, this doesn't feel like Christmas to me. And it makes sense. You're by yourself. Who's by themselves at Christmas generally? So, yeah, I definitely feel for people who have to work through the holidays, because even though I never have, my wife always has. And, you kind of see the look on her face Christmas morning when she has to get ready to go to work. It's not all smiles, but hey, at least we're employed, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I guess another part of catching up can involve some movies or shows or games we've been playing. Now, because of how long we've been between episodes, there's a hell of a lot we could list off, but we'll try to keep it to like our usual routine. If we need to throw in some extras, that's fine, I would say. But Venom, I'm gonna throw it to you first. So what do you have that you've watched, played, read, whatever to share?
Well, I'm gonna bring one to the table that's probably the second biggest movie to come out in October. It's one that we did not review on Fresh Cuts just because of various other things that were out at the same time when this movie got its short theatrical run, and that is, of course, Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2, and spoiler alert, I love this movie. I absolutely loved every second of it. If you guys remember that my review for the original Terrifier wasn't ultra positive, I love the effects, I loved Art the Clown, but I hated the fact that the first movie didn't have much of a story. It was literally just a day in the life of Art the Clown. Just, he just kills a bunch of people that he runs across throughout his day. And yeah, it's obviously classic kills, incredibly gory, a very satisfying ending, but just I'm the kind of guy who likes a story. I like a narrative in my movies, and man, Terrifier 2 gave it to us. I'm not going to say Terrifier 2 is like the greatest horror story ever written, not by any stretch. It's fairly basic in all honesty, but just the fact that they gave us this great story that actually has character arcs throughout the film, It gave us characters that we care about, that we actually don't want to see die. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, folks. If you give me a horror movie filled with a bunch of douchebags just for the killer to kill, I'm sure I'll still enjoy it if the kills are good and everything else. But I just need a little bit more substance in my films, and Terrifier 2 gave it to me. We got a great story that even leaves a couple of question marks, like a couple of I have a couple of theories in the back of my head of who Art the Clown actually is. Maybe we'll get that answer in the third one, which is obviously coming. Damien Leone already said that, they will absolutely continue with the Terrifier series. So, I mean, what can I say about Terrifier that people haven't heard already? Spectacular gore. Art the Clown, probably one of the best horror icons of the last 5-10 years. Like, I can't think of anyone that I like that much better. Just standing there smiling creeps me out. And then we get the added factor in this one of the little girl, his little buddy, who's almost as fucking terrifying as he is. And it just, between all of that and the incredible gore and an actual storyline, I absolutely adored Terrifier 2. I think it's a high recommend. I know it's not in theaters anymore, but it is out in physical media, so you can go and check it out anytime you want. If you got 1995, go ahead and pick that up. That is easily a one worth buying. I'm waiting for a 4K myself because I'm sure we're going to get one. So
yeah. They announced it. Best Buy is releasing it first.
Perfect. So. That's what I'm waiting for. So I'm going to assume you guys have seen it. So go ahead and chime in. Since
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, no. Okay, well then, Mike, go ahead and chime in with your spoiler-free review.
It's goddamn incredible is what I'd call it. And I actually had pretty tempered expectations going in because, I liked the first Terrifier okay enough, for what it was. But I had no idea, they would, not only would they go bigger and better with, the gore, but they actually put together a decent story. I mean, it's nothing all layered and complex, but they did enough, because keep in mind, Terrifier 2 is 2.5 hours. So the fact that I would say maybe it lost a little bit of steam in the last 20 minutes, but for being 2.5 hours, I can consider that a forgivable offense. But they really went over the top. I feel like going into it, I was like, are they over promising? Because there was a lot of stuff being said by the team behind it, and I'm like, man, the first one had some good gore, but wow, listen to the way they're talking about this. But man, they were correct. It was amazing. And to me, it's if that's the type of movie you're gonna make, that's how you do it, right? They delivered on exactly what they were trying to do, and I think there's rumors of a third one now.
Oh yeah, it's definitely coming. Yeah, Leon has already confirmed that. That's an absolute. But yeah, God, this movie just makes me so happy. It gave me shades of the sadness, even though I might put the sadness just a half a step above this one, just for the giddy, gory good time that it gave me. But Terrifier, maybe because just like Mike, maybe because my expectations were so tempered, maybe that's why I love this one so much. But yeah, I didn't even notice the runtime. I knew it was 2.5 hours going in, but then when the movie ended, I'm like, that was 2.5 hours? Holy shit. It just flew by, because you're not waiting for anything. There is character development in the film, but I mean, you get a great kill scene right away, right as the movie's starting, which sets the tone for the entire thing beautifully. And then we get some actual legit comedy with Art the Clown. He's legit funny in this movie, legitimately, especially some of his interactions with his little buddy, his little Art. What can we call her? She never really, did she have a name? The little pale girl. That in the credits, she's the little pale girl.
Corey Cunningham.
Oh, stop that.
Oh, no.
Don't you even mention that fucking movie when I'm talking about a good one. Damn. But yeah,
you're not talking about Corey Fire 2?
No.
The Return of Corey?
No more Cunninghams, goddammit. unless it's Arnie from Christine, but that's a different story.
Arnie.
Arnie. But yeah, I mean, the long and the short of it is I absolutely love Terrifier 2. If you're into, gory, guilty pleasure type films, and when I say guilty pleasure, I'm not calling this a bad movie that would be a guilty pleasure for you to like. I'm just saying it's so goddamn gory. And there's even some animal violence in here too. So warning for those of you who love animals, there is one particular scene with a possum, I believe, that's just fucking gnarly. So yeah, fair warning. And the other great thing I like about Terrifier is that all its advertising hasn't been hyperbole. All the comments about people passing out and puking in the theater, it's legit. Like, we've seen the videos, we've seen pictures online. It's like, this isn't like a lot of movies that'll advertise that, see the movie that made people pass out at Fantasia or, at Fantastic Fest or whatever. This movie, huh?
I was going to say my favorite review was Jerry O'Connell on the fucking View, where he's like, it made Alien look like Bambi.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, this movie definitely makes, stuff that plays in standard Hollywood horror that plays in theater absolutely makes that stuff look like Disney. I mean, Terrifier is definitely for the initiated. Like, I wouldn't recommend this to a new horror fan unless their intention was to be as grossed out as possible. But yeah,
this movie definitely has a target audience for a specific type of horror. The biggest mystery to me right now is, why the hell did Don not like it? And we haven't found out yet, because
and I don't know that I want to. That's going to turn into an ugly conversation.
It had no shark and it had Pantera in it. That's the only two things I could think of.
Oh my God. Watching the movie in the theater the first time, I watched it 3 times in theaters. Watching it in theaters the first time, I'm like, Don is going to love this. It
feels like a Don movie, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, if he loves the sadness, how do you not love Terrifier? But, we haven't had that conversation yet. And like I said, I'm trying to avoid it, but it'll probably come up eventually on one of the shows. But yeah.
I'll bring it up next time.
Do it. Ask him why the hell he hates Terrifier so much.
Well, I assume it'll come up, like, if it doesn't come up before then, if it's on either your or my top 10 of the year, then I'll give Don, like, I guess, some space to like explain why he doesn't like it.
Watch, he's just trolling. It's his real number one.
That would be, Don's number one is the same as mine. I know that for a fact, but I mean, Terrifier, it's like top 3 for me right now this year. I mean, it's high praise, I know. It's just that the movie spoke to me in every way I wanted it to speak to me. Is it a perfect horror film? No. Is every horror fan going to love this? No, of course not. But if you're a certain type of fan, basically someone like me, I think you're going to dig this movie. It's gory, yet still fun. And that's what we needed in the cinema this year, especially after that atrocity that came to us from Haddonfield, Illinois.
All right. Well, I'll kick it over to Derek. What do you got first?
Let's see what I want to talk about first, Michael. I think I'm going to talk about a book I was reading recently by Mr. Stephen King named Revival, which is pretty awesome. And I hope one day they actually do make like a film adaptation of it at one point. But pretty much it's about like this young boy named Jamie. And it's about how he met like this reverend character who's kind of obsessed with electricity, and there's like his local reverend, and what happens is like the reverend's family ends up dying in like this car accident, and he ends up like going berserk in this like a sermon one day talking about like Nazism and shit and fucking craziness, and pretty much like, oh, God doesn't exist, and shit like that. So he ends up leaving. Years go by. Jamie becomes like a heroin addict guitarist, and he actually runs into this dude. And yeah, this dude ends up like taking Jamie under his wing. Reverend fucking what the fuck was his name? I forget the Reverend's name. It's been a while since I read the book. But yeah, he's very obsessed with electricity in a way where he actually figured out a way to use what he calls special lightning and use it to cure people. Hence, the name of the book. It's about revival, fucking seminars, like the big tent revivals, that type of shit. Where he does like this whole act of like, gain money to do what he's really wanting to do, which I'm not going to spoil because hopefully one day they will make listen to a movie and it goes into some crazy cosmic Lovecraftian areas, which King was a huge fan of Lovecraft himself, and it was kind of interesting that this is probably the closest to a Lovecraft book that he's written.
Mm-hmm. My interest is piqued.
Yeah, and it ends on a very dark, fucked up note. That's all I'll give away. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was actually one of the better It was kind of a banger Stephen King novel, which some recently, like a few years, he's been kind of getting back into like his peak of writing, where some of his books after like his accident, like fucking Dreamcatcher, were kind of like, yeah, and like the adaptations of those movies were not as good either. But yeah, Revival. Check it out if you're a Stephen King fan.
Maybe they'll make it a Netflix show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, now it might be an Amazon show because Flanagan left Netflix to go to Amazon.
Right, I did see that.
All right. So first up for me, let's look at my long old list. I'll actually talk about something I did for Halloween or October. A lot of people do the 31 challenge or 31 day challenge. So for me, I wasn't sure if I was going to do anything because I haven't actually done it in a few years. But I was thinking, like, what can I do that's something a little different but still in the spirit of the movie thing? And I did the math and I was like, oh, there's 96 episodes of Tales from the Crypt, 31 days of October. So if I watch 3 a day, that'll work out to the entire series. And holy shit, I actually got through it all. And then each day I would do a post with the 3 episodes I watched and like pick my favorite out of the 3. Obviously I'm not just going to read off a list now, but I'll say like looking back, the 2 things that stuck out to me was I think season 2 overall was the best for episode to episode. And then 2, man, there was a lot more episodes that were just kind of dull or not that good than I remember. Now, episode for episode, I would still say it's like better than like something like Tales from the Dark Side or Monsters, because those ones kind of got really weak as they went on. But yeah, Tales from the Crypt definitely had its like dud episodes or just not very good ones as well. And but I had a fun time doing it. It started to feel a little long in the tooth once I got to like the last week of October, where it's just like, oh shit, I gotta not forget to do this. But overall, it was a fun time. Glad I did it, and that was like really I think the first time I had rewatched a lot of these episodes in like years, so it gave me a good excuse to do so. And the other thing is like season 3 is when the Crypt Keeper really started taking on the big character, because in the first season he was mostly just like in his like robe, and then season 2 it's like they added a little bit of like accessories to him, but season 3 is like where he's like full on like dressed like Forrest Gump for an episode and that kind of stuff. So
I'll miss you, Jenny.
Yeah, they really started hamming it up with him, which is okay because that's really outside the episode itself. So his corniness didn't really affect the episodes itself. It was separate, but yeah, still highly recommend Tales from the Crypt. Maybe one day it'll get on HBO and they'll actually remaster them, but for now you just got to settle for how they're available. And yeah. I think the DVDs are still available.
Yeah, DVDs are out there. So now that you've rewatched the series, and I'm not even sure if you have an answer, but I'm going to ask anyway, do you have a favorite episode? Single episode.
Oh shit, man, it's hard to pick like a single episode. I do really like the Tim Curry one, where
He plays
the one guy's
everybody.
playing the traveling salesman. Yeah, where Tim Curry's playing like the whole family.
Nice.
When it comes to Tales from the Crypt, I actually tend to like the ones with a little bit of like comedic
Yes.
bent to them, because I feel like that's more in line with the spirit of the source material. Like they're not straight up comedies, but there's a little comedy going on in it. I really like the Christopher Reeve restaurant one when they end up like serving people, and Judd Nelson's in it. That one's really good. The one with wow, what was it? The old guy that's getting the plastic surgery to get Kelly Preston, and then she ends up going, I think it's William Hickey, right?
The one directed by Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, yeah. When he spends all the money to get like a fitter, younger looking body, and then at the end she doesn't get with him because the dude he was trading it out with has all the money now. So she went for the money over the looks. That one was good. Yeah. And I like the first season, the 9 lives one, where they do the transplant with the cat that gives him 9 lives, and then he miscounts it on one of his escape stunts, and he's like, "Oh shit, this was my 9th life."
When?
Wah.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm back up. I'm going to bring in a Netflix film, or at least a movie that premiered on Netflix. It's not an American film. Where did this movie go?
I think it's Polish.
Are we thinking of the same movie? Oh shit, we are. Yes, this movie is indeed from Poland. Anybody who knows anything about me knows I absolutely adore religious horror, demonic possession, shit like that. So it was a no-brainer that I would go ahead and check out Hellhole on Netflix pretty much as soon as it dropped. It is, as I said, the foreign language film, and unfortunately, I can't really give it that great a review. This movie, it's a tale of 2 movies, really, because the movie is exactly 90 minutes long. And for the first hour plus of the film, it's not even horror. It's like a police procedural. Like the basic story is a priest from another church comes to visit this one mysterious church where people are dying, where some of the monks have been dying, and he witnesses an exorcism. And we get this great big exorcism scene with all of the standard exorcism tropes, speaking in tongues, speaking with a voice, though the voice doesn't sound like the girl's, blah 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 blah. But then about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes into the film, our investigator, our priest from the other spot, and his name is actually Father Merrick, which I kind of find humorous, as The Exorcist is my favorite horror film of all time. But yeah, like I said, for the first hour or so, it's basically just this guy trying to investigate these fake exorcisms that supposedly this church has been putting on. He spends the first hour of the film trying to find proof of what's happening. But of course, we are watching a horror film, so by the third act, we actually start to get some, horror type action. And the movie does unfortunately kind of fizzle out. Like, it's a beautiful film. Like, it's currently on 4K on Netflix. So if you've got a 4K TV and you care at all about these kind of films, I would still recommend it just because it looks gorgeous. But it's a pretty been there, done that story, not really satisfying. And even for me, someone who absolutely loves this subgenre, I can't really recommend it to too many people, other than for its filmmaking prowess. Like I said, it looks gorgeous, nice score, blah, blah, blah. Have either of you guys seen Hellhole?
That's how I feel about it.
Yep. I did find myself getting a little sleepy about 40 minutes in.
Yeah, they're just fucking walking around talking.
Yeah.
Fucking, come on, get some fucking titties out.
Yeah, you know what? I actually did throw it on, and I remember thinking like it was just okay, and I think I actually asked Moods about it, and because I don't know why I was even talking to him specifically that at that time, and I was bringing up stuff about watching, and I think he really liked it, and I was like, I was like, I thought it was okay, like just okay, not bad. It was kind of like the perfect thing to throw on while I was working because
Yeah.
it didn't draw me in incredibly, but I was like,
It's-
it's good enough to see the way through. But yeah, it was just all right.
It's great if you need melatonin.
Yeah, that's valid. If you can make it to the third act, you probably won't fall asleep. But yeah, the likelihood that you'll lose interest in that first hour, especially if you're a hardcore horror fan specifically, yeah, it's just not a very exciting movie, unfortunately. And like I said, an hour into it, you're still wondering, is this actually a horror movie? Did I hit play on the right movie? But then eventually, finally, some supernatural stuff starts happening. That's a mild spoiler, but whatever. I'm not recommending the movie, so I don't care. So yeah, Hellhole 2022. It's a brand new film on Netflix, and I do not recommend it.
No.
Short and sweet with the non-recommend. All right, Derek, what do you recommend or not recommend next?
Speaking of Netflix, I watched all 8 episodes of fucking Tim Burton's Wednesday.
Ooh, I haven't started it yet. I'm excited though.
Yeah, I loved it. It was
Nice.
great. Just Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Adams. I was kind of like, because I've only seen her in a few movies so far, and it's like Scream and X. I'm like, yeah, she does pretty great in the role of Wednesday Adams. And my favorite character of this show, without giving too much away, is Thing.
I've heard people say that a lot, actually. Yeah.
The Thing is amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like complaining and stuff, like when Louis Guzman was cast as Gomez Adams, because he doesn't look like John Ashton and Raul Julia. But then I did a little bit more research, and because the Addams family is actually based off a comic,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks exactly like the comic version of Gomez Adams.
Yeah, in the 70s, I think there was an animated series too, and
Yeah.
that Gomez looks more like Luis Guzman too.
Yeah.
So
Even like the new animated movies, they kind of use that version too.
yeah, I prefer it. I mean, I love John Ash. That don't get me wrong, obviously an absolute classic, and of course Raul Julia, rest in peace, amazing actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually was one of the few people that was excited to see Luis Guzman get this role. I was genuinely looking forward to it. I've been a fan of his for decades at this point, and I was excited. I haven't started it yet, but I am really looking forward to it. I may start it this weekend finally, because I'm still finishing up what do you call it? Lord of the Rings series and House of the Dragon. So I'm behind. I'm very behind.
Yeah. I gotta catch up on Andor myself. So
I haven't even started Andor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I am a religious Star Wars viewer, but yeah, there's just been so much out, and I'm not the kind of person who likes to watch 10 shows at once. You know what I mean? Technically I watch movies more than television. And when I do watch television, I almost never binge. I mean, literally, the only series I've ever binged my entire life is Haunting a Hill House.
Yeah.
And that's just because the wife and I, we just couldn't stop. Every episode ended so beautifully, we just had to keep going. But that's it. That's the only series I've ever felt the need to binge.
Oh, yeah, but if you guys want to watch Wednesday, just know this. There is one scene that made me and my dad tear up in this show.
I'm really looking forward to it then.
Yeah.
I love when horror does some emotional stuff, I dig that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And pretty much it's fucking Harry Potter with the Addams Family characters.
Awesome.
Which I love. I love Harry Potter. So I'm all down for that.
Yeah, I've seen the first 2 episodes of Wednesday, and I think it's really good. Like, I'm kind of watching it slowly because my kids like it. So, yeah, I'm kind of like leaving it up to them. They're the type that like they don't really. Well, they don't necessarily binge stuff. So once like I kind of agree to watch something with them, I'm kind of at the mercy of like when they feel like watching more of it. But so far through 2 episodes, I think it's really good. I think Jenna Ortega as Wednesday really shines in this show. And then, yeah, like Guzman as Gomez, I thought he was fine. Like I liked his portrayal. I would say Catherine Zeta-Jones did more of the sleepwalking through a role, if I had to like say.
No,
But
she gets better. She gets better
that's
in
what I was
this
gonna
one.
say. I can only base it on the very 10 minutes she was in the first episode. So maybe there's more to see. Yeah, and Thing rules so far, even only 2 episodes in.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking awesome. He's like the Luca Brasi of Wednesday. He's fucking awesome. I won't spoil. Yeah, I gotta stop talking about it because you guys don't even know.
Yeah, I gotta get into it.
Yeah. All right. So, second up for me is another new movie I saw in the theater. Turns out we did not do an episode of Fresh Cuts on it. So, I was like, well, let me write it down in case. And that would be Bones and All. I know. Have either of you guys seen this yet?
From the director of Snoria?
Snoria remake, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one does have some walking in it too, but it's more of a not quite as much. More driving than walking in this one, but this one's definitely one of those it's kind of like a hybrid road movie, a little bit of coming of age. There is some romance, but also cannibal. Yeah, kind of like Stakeland, but with cannibals instead. It really has like a Doctor Sleep vibe kind of because of the nomadic nature of the main characters and what you learn about them. I think for straight horror fan, like if you go into this wanting like a straight horror movie, yeah, it might not deliver enough horror stuff for you, but if you just want like a good movie, I think it's plenty good. I recommend it. I liked the development of the characters. I liked that the main theme of it was kind of like a sense of belonging, figuring out, discovering it because of the situation the main character is in to start the movie. And I think through the movie you're introduced some like pretty weird out there characters, and it does a good job with the story. So yeah, I highly recommend Bones and All.
So it's the better movie with David Gordon Green's name attached to it. Because
he's in it for a scene, yeah. I remember when he came on screen, I was like, oh my god, it's him.
The man who ruined a franchise.
And he's about to ruin my favorite horror movie of all time. And I'm not fucking happy about that. I am fucking not happy about that. I for like the last 30 or so years, I've always said, if anybody ever tries to remake The Exorcist, I'll fucking drive to Hollywood and put a bullet in their brain. And now this dumb fuck who ruined Halloween is now going to ruin The Exorcist. I'm not happy in any way.
So that actually got confirmed. I was hoping it was just like a rumor.
I don't know if it officially got confirmed, but I read it from enough sources that there's got to be some truth to it.
Why can't they just give it the why can't they just fire him and give it to Flanagan? He worked.
Exactly, Flanagan any day of the week.
He's worked with Blumhouse, what the fuck.
I just don't understand why you need it. It's because it's like so many possession and exorcism movies come out as it is. It's like, just make your own one. Like, why do you even need to remake The Exorcist? And didn't the story say something like, oh, it's going to be a trilogy or something? I'm like, no.
Oh.
Like, you can't announce that ahead of time.
Exorcist ends, starring Corey Cunningham.
Oh, God. I mean, he sort of was, I guess, possessed, and Halloween ends in a way already, I guess.
Watch, it's going to be a spinoff. It's going to all come together.
No.
Where Ellen Bernstein's going to fight Jamie Lee Curtis in a Hell in a Cell match.
Someone's gonna get clotheslined off a bridge and dragged into
the
sewer by Pazuzu.
Yeah, it's going to lead into the Escape of New York remake.
No.
With Kurt Russell.
Stop it.
Pazuzu's gonna look into my eyes.
Every time we say this shit, I worry that we're putting it out in the ether and someone's gonna pick it up and be like, "Hey, that might be a good idea."
Yeah,
some
this is
some
going to the
idiot.
writer's room.
So if
Exactly.
you guys do like a producer's cut of Halloween Ends, get Tom Atkins to play his character from Halloween 3, and he does that whole scene where he's like, "Stop it!" at the end of the movie with Jamie Lee Curtis there. And we find out it's Silver Shamrock won anyways.
For
Stop
me,
it!
I mean, ultimately for me, Halloween Ends is just about that last 20 minutes. Like, to me, Halloween Ends is a 20-minute long movie because everything that happens for the first hour and a half, I don't give a rat fuck about. But those last 20 minutes, I'm on board for. I actually did like the end of Michael Myers, like, how they culminated the whole story, like all of that I was down for. It was the hour and a half before that just ground me. I mean, I legitimately thought about walking out. Like I'm just like, after about an hour of just Corey Cunningham, I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like if we weren't reviewing it, I would have walked out.
Oh, especially with fucking Laurie's like, "I'm gonna hook you up my granddaughter," but then
Yeah, it's
later,
like,
"I
how
don't
did you
want
not?
you." And she does this fucking gay narration throughout it, like she's fucking Pony Boy in The Outsiders.
But yeah, it's like it bothers me too that Lori couldn't pick up on what was going on in Corey's head when she first met him. But then as soon as he tries to start dating her granddaughter, suddenly he's evil. It's like, no.
If the granddaughter got naked, that would have been I would have raised it a
Maybe. I
point
mean,
five.
I'm past the point of nudity improving movies for me. Like, if a movie's bad, throwing a couple of titties in there is not going to help it.
Okay, it needs to show full on penetration then.
Oh, I mean, maybe. But then it's just a
Like
porn.
Antichrist.
So, like, who cares?
Get Willem Dafoe in there.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, see, again, you're bringing up great movies when we're talking about Halloween Ends.
Yeah,
Well, I've heard some people float the idea of like, well, why don't the next people that want to make Halloween go extend the Jamie Lloyd story? I'm like, no, because it's not good. It wasn't good to begin with. That's why.
No. Loomis at the end of 4. No.
Oh God, Cult of Thorn, Jesus. Fuck.
Bring back Paul Rudd.
I met a guy who had that tattooed on his hand too. The symbol, the thorn symbol. My God, did I want to kick him in the mouth? To each his own, I'm never gonna give anybody shit for a movie that they like, but holy fuck,
Bring back Nick Cage Myers.
Nick Cage Myers.
Yeah, he looked like Nick Cage in Part 5.
That's true. Yeah, that was a shitty mask.
Not as shitty as H2O.
Oh, the CG mask. Oh, sexy. So I mean, that's definitely the best thing that's happened to the Halloween franchise in decades.
Plus, he looks like he's constipated throughout the movie. With the mask he has on.
It really bothered me that he did that ninja thing in that movie where he came down from the ceiling. I'm like, Michael is not a fucking gymnast. He's never been established to have that kind of ability.
Yeah, and then the next movie he gets beat up by Ninja. Buster Rhymes.
Right. Oh, God. Happy Halloween, motherfucker. Oh, God. Let's move on so we can get to a good movie.
Hugo Stickless.
I'm like, what was the original movie we were talking about now? I can't even remember.
Is
it Derek now?
I don't even know. I think it was you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely Mike.
Oh, it was Bones and All, so it's Venom.
Yeah, Bones and All. Oh, so it's back to me. Nice.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. Well, let's keep up the trend of shitty demonic possession movies. This one actually played in theaters. This is another movie that we didn't do on Fresh Cuts, and you know what? I'm very, very glad that we did not. I don't remember what we did in its place. I think it might have been the Argento movie, Dark Glasses. But either way, yeah, this movie is Pray for the Devil. It was released just before Halloween. Actually, I think it was our Halloween movie this year. It came out like the weekend of Halloween. And oh, my friends, holy shit. The best thing I can say about this movie is if you've never, ever in your life ever watched an exorcism movie, you might like this one. If you have, especially somebody like me, where it's my favorite subgenre of horror, This movie was just so color by numbers. I mean, you could literally pick out the scenes as they were coming. Like, oh, that's going to happen. Oh, that's going to happen. And then I picked that fucking ending like less than halfway through the movie. I said, oh shit, is it going to end like this? And guess what? It ended exactly like I thought it would. And yeah, this movie, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. It's well filmed, well acted. You know, the writing is okay. It's not inspired by any stretch, but it's passable. But like I said, you could play demonic possession bingo with this movie and just check off the tropes. I mean, the movie is just nothing but exorcism tropes left and right. And like I said, we get the ending that we all expected to get, which just ends up ruining a movie for me. So yeah, Pray for the Devil. At least it's only 90 minutes long. It's not. I mean, I'd rather watch Pray for the Devil than Hellhole. I mean, Hellhole was a better made film, but at least Pray for the Devil was like mildly entertaining and mildly horror throughout. It's not like I had to wait for 3/4 of the runtime to go by before it turned into a horror movie. But ultimately, yeah, this is another one that I can't really recommend. I mean, as I've said, and I'll continue to say this, it's not a bad movie. It's just so cliche that it's dull. Like I was bored the whole hour and a half because I've literally seen every gag that they did in this movie. I've seen in better demonic possessions movies. So it's like, what the hell? Why am I even here? So yeah, I don't know if either of you guys saw that, but I would avoid it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it in the theaters. I'm like, yeah, that's a skip.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, because of the subgenre, I'm always gonna watch those movies ultimately. And every now and again, you do get like a diamond in the rough, like Exorcist Vengeance with that bronzy guy, the fake Charles Bronson. That movie is bad, but I'd watch that 50 times before I watch Pray for the Devil again.
We're doing that on a commentary on that. Let's do
I
it.
love it. I would love it because I mean, an Exorcist that carries a 357 Magnum. That's all I got to say.
Hey, Belly.
That's cinema gold right there. So yeah.
Power of Christ compels you, Belly.
Yeah, so the point and there's not really a lot of people in this movie. You got Virginia Madsen in here. I think Kumar from the Harold and Kumar movies is in here, but that's about it. There's nothing in here that's really all that redeeming.
Wait, he's in that one too, isn't he? In Smiles?
Yeah,
too?
he's in Smile. I mean, he has like one line in this movie, but yeah. I guess he's the new horror background player.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Pray for the Devil, folks. I would avoid it. Not a terrible movie, but if you've ever seen an exorcism movie, you've seen it all before. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's one I think I tried to veto on Fresh Cuts because I had seen the trailer from other movies in the theater, and I was just like, I was worried that like, okay, at best this will just feel like a derivative possession movie, but I was like, at worst it could just be a whole lot of garbage. But I was like, man, I just feel like doing something else, and I guess it was the right choice.
Yeah, I remember Don really wanted to do that Argento movie, so Pray for the Devil just kind of got pushed to the back.
Dark Galoshes by Argento.
All right, Derek, what do you got up?
Well, I don't know if I actually reviewed this movie when I fucking well, it's been a while, so that makes sense. But yeah, I'll talk about fucking Smile, which is 10 times a better movie than Halloween Ends. Which, I thought I would never say that like months later, but it is. Yeah, you follow Kevin Bacon and Kara Sedgwick's love child, Susie Bacon, who's the main character of the movie, Rose. And she's like a help therapist. She's like a doctor that helps like people with trauma and stress and shit like that. And because she has her own like demons that we learn throughout the movie. And she gets a patient in, Laura, who, saw her teacher kill her himself. And she's like, I see these fucking things that look like people that I knew. And, they just give me these smiles. And, man, when that fucking smile shit started happening, I'm like, okay, that's fucking creepy as fuck, the way they're smiling in this movie. And, yeah, this movie, like, I didn't picture like this fucking crazy like credit sequence where the smile just comes at you like an epileptic seizure. And then, it starts to kind of like feel like, you know, this movie it's not original because we've seen other movies do like this type of story. But I think it's just well done for like a first time director's first movie, It could be a lot worse in that sense where, there's actually jump scare that happens that actually got me in theaters because I was not fucking expecting it. And it actually has a balls enough to end fucking well dark. Yeah. Which I give credit because a lot of like these type of horror movies usually have happy fucking endings. I'm like, Smile's like, hold my beer. you know, So I enjoyed it for what it was. It's not mind blowing by any stretch, or but it was a fun ride, and I liked where the story went, and that scene with the fucking cat. Oh fuck! I was like, whoa.
Yeah. We reviewed this on Fresh Cuts, and I'll say the same thing now that I said back then. To me, it was a middle of the road movie. Like I won't call it a bad movie, but like I wanted so much more out of this. And honestly, folks, if you want to see a movie with creepy smiles, go watch The Sadness. The smiles in that movie are way fucking creepier than what we get in Smile. And not necessarily the smile itself, but what the smile represents. So, I mean, Smile, like I said, it's not bad, but I don't really think it's very good. I hated the end creature, the CG monstrosity that they gave us to end the movie with.
Oh, it was all practical, baby.
That had to be some CG.
No, it was all practical. I saw the making.
There's no way that was all practical.
Yeah,
that thing at the end?
Yeah.
Mother?
Yeah. Oh, the mother. I thought you meant.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mother. Oh yeah.
I thought you meant the real reveal.
No.
Yeah, Mother.
Yeah. I'm talking about Mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That ruined the end of the movie for me. It's like I was kind of on board with like the creepiness level of the movie. The first hour I was totally, on board. It wasn't like mind blowing by any stretch, but at least I was on board. But yeah, the third act just absolutely ruined it for me, which, didn't bring it down to a poor rating. It just brought it down to like a middle of the road rating. So I'm not going to call it a bad movie because ultimately it's not. But for me, for somebody who's been in the genre this long and has watched as many movies as we have, it felt middle of the road at best for me.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I did like kind of like the subtext in the movie because I thought what they were trying to do with the story was basically say or display how like one person's trauma can kind of like spread to those around them. I thought that's kind of what they were going for with metaphor, but man, now that there's been some distance between like when I've seen it, some of the details are scant. But I did like some of the jump scares in it. The scene with, I think it's like the sister when she comes out to the car and like, her head
drop.
goes. Oh man, that was like really good.
Yeah, mine was the one that got me was the one where she's on the computer.
Oh yeah. That was good. The one where she goes back to the hospital, I think, to like get her stuff or do something, and like the patient, that one patient starts, she's like stabbing him, and he's like laughing, and then it's not his name. What is it? Everyone calls him Kumar because of Harold and Kumar, but what is it? Cal Patel?
Dev Patel. Dev.
Yeah. That scene that was just a great scene. I love when it got crazy like that out of nowhere. But yeah, it was to me it definitely felt like a jump scare heavy movie, but that's okay. Some movies can get by on that, so I was good with it.
One of the biggest issues I had with it was the fact that the main character had the ability to end this fucking curse, but she didn't have the balls to do what she needed to do, and that bothered me. Because, the whole movie, she's trying to figure out a way to stop this or, a way to either, send it back or whatever. And she had the perfect way. They don't bring it up in the movie, mind you. It's just something that if you see the movie, I think most of you are going to know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about it here because it's a little bit of a spoiler. But there's something that she very easily could have done to end the curse, and then she didn't fucking do it. And because she doesn't do it, we get the ending that we got. So this is part of the selfishness of some horror characters. It's like, stop thinking about yourself and think about all the other people that are going to be affected by this curse if you don't stop it now. So, that kind of it kind of soured me on the character a little bit, especially because she was, she spends the majority of the movie investigating this whole curse and everything and trying to figure out where it comes from or how to stop it. And I'm like, dude, there's a very fucking simple way for you to stop it, and you're not going to do it. And that, and obviously the movie would be a lot shorter if they did that. I understand that. You have to have stupid people in horror movies to advance the plot. I get that. But in this particular instance, the fact that there was one simple thing she could have done, but just doesn't do it, just makes the character slightly selfish to me. And, it kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth as I'm leaving the theater. So, yeah, not a bad movie, just not a great one.
Yeah, I kind of like what she did with the decision, because she would have ended up like one of the other characters we meet later in the movie.
Right. But yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
If I was in that situation and I knew what was going to happen if I didn't stop this shit, I would have stopped it. I mean, especially considering where she was in that movie at that point. She already lost her husband. She lost her job. The police are after her. It's like you've got nothing for you waiting for you anyway. So just fucking do what needs to be done and end the curse. But nope.
He's got Joel. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, Smile's okay in my opinion.
And it was just weird because, she looks like her mom a lot throughout the movie, but then
way more like her mom, yeah.
But then when she smiles, she does look like her dad.
I didn't notice. Like throughout the whole movie, I'm like, damn, she looks like Kira. Like I barely saw any Kevin. I'm sure you're right, but like I said, by the time we're halfway through the movie, I started to kind of lose interest. So, even though I'm watching it in the theater and it's my main focus, I'm kind of looking through the screen more than I'm looking at it.
And weird song choice to end the movie with Lollipop. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, okay. Okay. I guess that goes back to me then. So, this is one I haven't really discussed with a lot of people, and depending on who's seen it and who hasn't, maybe it could be a disagreement on this, but Speak No Evil. Have either of you guys seen it?
No.
I guess not.
Is that new? Is that
yeah,
brand
on
new?
Shudder.
Oh, then I definitely haven't seen it.
I think when one of the weeks we were looking for something on VOD, I think Don mentioned it, but
Oh,
he
is this
was
one?
like,
I've seen the poster of it. I never watched it yet, though. Okay.
yeah, I think Don was trying to discourage us from doing it because it's
definitely not a Dawn movie.
It's not a Dawn movie at all. It might not even be a Venom movie, but maybe here's my thing.
There's
I
hope
want
for
to say
terror.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily not a Venom movie, but I guarantee if Venom did watch it,
Oh, there's a character named Derek in this movie. I'm definitely watching it now.
Venom, you definitely have a couple complaints about something or a couple things the main characters do. Because as I was watching it, I was like, I guess it's good we're not doing it on some fresh cuts, because I can already see Venom going, these fucking idiots, why don't they just do the other thing? And
hey, ultimately, bad decisions don't necessarily ruin a movie. I mean, one of the best horror movies of the year, Barbarian, had some of the dumbest fucking characters in it, but I still love that movie. So at least dumb characters in and of itself won't ruin the movie for me.
Yeah, so Speaking of Evil, it's basically like I would almost call it like a character study of a couple main characters getting almost wound down, barriers coming down, and let's just say bad things happen. It snowballs, and we get our conclusion. I have to keep it vague because you guys haven't seen it, and it's hard to really talk about without spoiler. But I really liked it. I thought it was a interesting character study between the contrast between the two couples, and it brings up a lot of questions, I think, about human nature and the instinctual behavior differences between people, how different certain people react in an awkward situation. And I understand. I'm almost having a hypothetical with would have watched it Venom. I could understand people having the reaction of like, why are they acting so stupid? But I also would have like my perspective of explanations on it that there's no point in giving now, obviously. But I don't know, if you end up seeing it before the end of the year, maybe you can just bring it up on like a future episode, because I would like to have an actual discussion on it. Just we didn't do it on Fresh Cut, so I really haven't had the chance. And it's on Shudder.
Is it a long movie? Is it 2 hours?
It's an hour and 37 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a 2-hour movie. Yeah, no.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Not like Hellhole, that felt like 2 hours.
Oh God, yeah.
God.
And especially after October, where I watched all these great found footage movies, and then it just seemed like November started with like Dark Glasses and a bunch of other movies that were just slightly disappointing. So yeah.
Dark Glasses in galoshes.
Yep.
And the absolute heartbreak that is VHS 99. Ugh.
Oh, I know.
God damn it. It literally went from in my top 5 last year for VHS, 95 or whatever, 94. And this year, it's literally one of my 10 most hated movies of the year. That's a huge shift. But then again,
maybe 85 will redeem it.
That's what I'm hoping. Maybe they're doing like maybe they got the Star Trek curse where every other one is good, 2 was great, 3 sucked, 4 was great, 5 sucked. So maybe 6 now. The next one will be awesome. Fingers crossed. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So technically that's our normal rotation. We've all done 3, so we can cut it off unless, it's been so long. If there's anything else specifically you guys want to bring up.
I'll bring up just a couple. I'm not going to go into descriptions or anything else. These are just movies that I think you guys should avoid. The first one is The Curse of Jack Frost. This is a brand new movie, 2022, just came out, and it's pretty fucking terrible. Go back and watch Jack Frost with Shannon Elizabeth. That one's way better. Let's see. Something in the Woods. Probably one of the worst movies I've seen this year. It's on VOD. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I got a code to watch it a few weeks back, and yeah, it's just not very good. I watched it because it was an hour and 5 minutes long, so I figured even if it sucks, it's only an hour long. But yeah, that hour felt like 3 hours. So yeah, Something in the Woods, avoid. And then the last one I'll bring up, and this one necessarily isn't an avoid, because it's getting good reviews, but it didn't work for me as well as it did for others, and that's Deadstream on Shudder. Found footage film, some YouTuber investigating a haunted house, blah, blah, blah. We've all seen it before. The movie wasn't bad. It's the character. The one character that we spend the entire fucking movie with is just one of the worst, most annoying douchebags I've ever seen in a horror film. I fucking hate this guy with the fire of 1,000 hells. Just, But somehow the movie still does come through. The ending is pretty entertaining. But like I said, if you can deal with this guy for 85 minutes, I would say check it out, especially if you like found footage, which I do, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, so I do mildly recommend Deadstream, whereas the other ones, Jack Frost or Curse of Jack Frost, and Something in the Woods, I would say absolutely avoid.
Yeah, and I'll bring one more up. I forgot I watched Slapface.
Yeah, I like Slapface. What'd you think?
I liked it till the very end.
Oh, I even like the end.
Because then you gotta think of like smile spoilers of Slapface. There's no way that little boy killed all those cops.
No, of course not. But that's the way people are in horror movies. They look at the obvious suspect in front of them, and even if it doesn't make sense, fuck it, you did it. I mean, hell, one of the movies that we're about to talk about, has a poor character who's accused of something he didn't do.
Poor Bob.
Poor
All right.
Bob.
What's with Fulci and Bob?
Yeah.
Uh,
What's with Fulci and head trauma? God damn. We'll get into that. I got a lot to say about it. But that's it for me for what we've been watching.
Yeah, the only thing I crossed off a bunch of stuff from my list. So the only thing that was still here that I didn't cross off for some reason was a little small movie called Fall. Have any of you guys seen that?
No.
The one where the two girls get stuck up on like the defunct radio cell tower. If you're a fan of like confinement horror, characters get stuck in an uncomfortable place and have to survive days on end and figure out a way to get out of there, or they're gonna die.
Yeah, I saw Frozen.
Yeah, it sounds like Frozen. I was just about to say it.
Kind of like that, or like an open water, but
If it had a killer bear in it, I would watch it.
Or like a buried killer bear, cocaine bear. Oh my god.
Oh,
I can't
boy.
wait.
That's a whole other topic. Yeah, don't even start with that.
But yeah, I thought for like being a little smaller movie, it was good. It has the usual tension of like, who are they going to make it out? Are they both going to make it out? Is one going to sacrifice? And it wasn't too long because I don't think these types of movies should be like long. I don't know. I'll have to take your word for it there, Derek.
Yeah, Mike doesn't like fun movies.
He does not know what we talk about.
Nope.
Kevin Bacon Saved Christmas.
Oh, I should have brought that up, even though that's not horror in any way, shape, or form. Again, Mike doesn't like fun, so we'll skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I've graduated out of my fun my fun segment. But yeah, that's pretty much all. I'm thinking any horror games I've been playing. Not really. I finished Last of Us 2, but I think I might have brought that up all the way back on our last episode.
Yep.
I can't remember.
I think you did. Yeah, I remember you bringing up a game.
Were you still stuck in the one house in Resident Evil?
Oh.
No.
You just gave up?
That. Did you actually finish it?
Yeah, I finished that one.
Okay, good. Because I love that ending for Resident Evil 8. I think that ending is awesome.
Yeah, and then Callisto Protocol just came out. I haven't got it yet, but it looks pretty much like a Dead Space port almost. Like it looks very similar by the makers. Some of the makers of it, I think, are involved.
Yeah, it's the developers, same developers. So I will absolutely be getting it. Dead Space is one of my favorite series over the last like 10-20 years. The third one wasn't great, but the first two, in my opinion, are absolute classics. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that's what we've been watching. I don't know if there's really much news.
Mike Flanagan's on Amazon now.
Yep, he flew the Netflix coop.
Which, I mean, he was batting 1,000 on Netflix, so I hope he continues that batting average because he never made a bad thing for Netflix, be it a movie or a series. I mean, Before I Wake is probably the weakest thing he did for Netflix, and I still like that one a lot. So yeah,
I didn't even realize. Did he have like some type of like multi-picture deal with Netflix, or did he just happen to be making movies that
it's kind of fucking fucked up that they like fucking like named like the Flaniverse on Netflix.
It's because Netflix has the license to make Stephen King based series.
Oh. Okay.
So if he's leaving Hulu, if he's leaving Netflix for Amazon, it's not likely he's going to be doing Stephen King adaptations anymore.
That's true. And then also, like, if there's anything that he did that it's not going to get a season 2.
Yeah, and we're not going to get the Fall of the House of Usher, like Derek said. We're not going to get season 2 of anything, Hill House or Bly Manor or Midnight Mass. I don't think Midnight Mass needed a second season. It
ended with fucking. There's no characters left for the.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it had a definitive ending.
Did he do that one that just came out with the kids? What was it called?
Midnight Club. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that one's fucking depressing as fuck.
And did you read? I think he just tweeted yesterday that he's pissed off that it's not getting a second season. Apparently, Netflix had promised them at least 2 seasons of that series, but after the first season finished, they basically just said, "Nah, we're not going to do it." And I guess he's really upset, which might be part of the reason why he left Netflix. Honestly.
Yeah, it's weird because I read that like Netflix was like, yeah, it was only in because you know how they do like the top tens when you they're like, oh yeah, it was only in the top 10 section for like a few weeks. I'm like, that's not good. Like, I get, I mean, I understand like if you have a top 5 show like of all time that it's gonna stay in your top 10 for like a month, but I'm like 3 weeks in the top 10 isn't a good thing. I don't know. I
don't
guess
know how they
it's getting real
do.
cutthroat out there.
They never give any shows fucking chances anymore in that fucking program.
It's always Netflix always bases whether they renew shows on how many new subscriptions they get. It doesn't matter how many people watch it, current subscribers. It's how many new subscribers did this show bring to Netflix. That's why like every time there's a new season of Stranger Things, more people, sign up for Netflix. But and then when Squid Game season 2 comes out, forget about it. We're going to get a mass number of new Netflix subscribers because just about everyone I know is waiting for that, including myself. So yeah, with the Midnight Club, it was popular for a little bit, but it didn't really add any. Like the week that it premiered, it didn't get Netflix didn't get a lot of new subscribers. So they're not going to give it a second season if they're not making more money. It's a sad truth, but yeah.
No, Padme.
That's why I'm praying that people are watching Cabinet of Curiosities because I want Guillermo to get at least 1 or 2 more seasons because I fucking love that show.
My name is Guillermo del Toro.
Everybody who's talked about it loves it, so I'm like, It better get more.
What was your favorite episode?
Dreams of the Witch House. The fact that they actually did a Lovecraft. I mean, because the whole series is Lovecraftian. If you watch every episode, there's Lovecraftian elements to almost all. Yeah. But they actually did 2 actual Lovecraft stories, and one of them is Dreams in the Witch House, which is actually one of my favorite Lovecraft stories. They also did that on season 2 of Masters of Horror, if you remember.
Yep.
So yeah, that was probably my favorite one just by default. I did love Graveyard Rats though. I thought that one was really fun.
It was fun. Yeah,
I liked it.
my favorite was of course fucking Peter Weller.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you watched it yet, Mike?
I've only seen a couple episodes, so I need to get through that too.
Yeah, it's well worth it. Well worth getting through that one. That's a good binge.
So far, I love it. Like the quality is just top notch.
Yeah, the only one was my least favorite was the first one because it just ends abruptly.
A little bit, yeah, but I mean, it did set a nice tone for the series.
Yeah. Well, I still have a few to watch.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think they did really well putting Graveyard Rats as the second episode.
The autopsy I loved.
Yes.
Murray Abraham. Great.
Exactly. Yeah. I liked every episode, honestly, in varying degrees. But yeah. What else we got, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, have you seen the Megan trailer? Because Dancing Robot Girl is amazing.
I don't watch trailers, but I did catch a shot of Dancing Megan, yes, and it looks creepy as shit.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are saying it looks dumb or stupid or whatever, but I don't know. Something about an automaton dancing just kind of strikes me as odd.
To me, it strikes the tone of what the Child's Play remake.
Johansson fucking face on it too.
It kind of feels like the Child's Play remake, where it's like an animatronic doll that's supposed to be like friendly and helpful, and things go awry because it misinterprets what it means to like protect the person.
I'm not a real girl.
That's what that's what I'm going to be comparing it to when I see it, is that Child's Play remake, because I actually loved the Child's Play remake. I think I was a little bit higher on it than most people. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the reasoning behind the glitch, how the glitch kind of evolves throughout the movie. Yeah, that movie worked for me, and it was fucking gory too. How long's it been since we've gotten a really gory Chucky? I mean, Cult of Chucky was okay. There was a decapitation in there, but this one was legit, like, gory, and I like that.
And that Megan movie, it's starting or it's releasing the first week of January, so it's like another year where we have something for fresh cuts right off the bat.
Oh yeah, Megan Cocaine Beer is definitely going to be a double feature.
When does Cocaine Bear release?
February.
Oh yeah, February 24th, I think.
White lines, vision streams.
Is it a Valentine's movie? Do we know the exact release date?
I think the 24th, right?
Too late for Valentine's.
R.I.P. Ray Liotta.
Oh, I know. When I saw him, because I didn't know ahead of time he was in it, but then when he shows up in the trailer, I was like, oh. I bet he's fucking great in it.
Yeah.
Hey, Angela Lansbury is in the new Knives Out movie, and I got a little sad when I saw that, because that's probably her last role.
I've been sad a lot lately. All my childhood heroes are dying.
Yeah, that's what aging is all about, man, is watching all these. Every time I watch like a new, the roasts, the Comedy Central roasts, I tend to go back and watch them because I find them funny as shit. And every time I go back and watch them, there's more and more dead people on the episode.
Yeah, not even like this fucked up thing. Half of them are not even fucking old when they die. It's like
No. I mean, Greg Girardo and Earthquake, Patrice.
Yeah.
I mean, all these comedians that are in like their 30s and 40s and shit. It's too bad.
Oh man, you know what movie I should have brought up for one of my three was Have either of you guys seen on Amazon Prime the South Korean serial killer movie Midnight?
I've heard
I've
good
been
things,
wanting
but
to dive. I've been wanting to watch it though. Yeah,
it's really good. I mean, the characters in it, everything about it. I would caution people because like I feel like when it comes to serial killer movies like that, everyone's gonna like think, oh, I saw the devil. It's not like it's not like a brutal gore freaking like extreme movie like that. It's like it doesn't take it to those lengths, but just the story and the characters and like gore.
It's like a John Woo Hong movie.
Nice.
Yeah, there is blood and gore and like some vicious like attacks in it, but it's just a different beast, but it's really good. I highly recommend it. That's what I should have featured because it's a movie I really like.
You know what me and Venom should have featured? The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, right, Venom?
Hey, I absolutely loved it, but I don't know that it fits our format here.
It's on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. It's only 45 minutes long, but the thing is, one of the things I like about that, and I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but I'm gonna. One of the things I like about this Christmas special is that it's canon. There's actual like story advancement in it that's gonna have implications in the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
How often do you see that with a Christmas special? Christmas specials are usually one-off, and nothing that happens in it really affects the future. But this one has legitimate. Like it's got backstories that we didn't know about, and then the revelation at the end, which I obviously am not going to talk about here, was legitimately tear jerking. Like I almost shed a tear at that ending. I thought it was so fucking good, and the fact that that's part of the storyline moving forward now, that they literally changed the arc. It's not a status quo episode. In other words, a lot of Christmas specials are just status quo. This one, there's legit shit that happens, and I love that.
Yeah, and I love that, like, there's even, like, a callback to his fucking first movie, Slither. He actually got the band, the old 97s, to play the alien band in the movie show. It was great.
Which that song was fucking hysterical. That was awesome. What would Mike, you got to ask yourself, what would a Christmas song sound like from a band who doesn't know what Christmas is about? And you get your answer in this episode, and it's fucking brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mike is not a big MCU watcher, so if you haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy's movies, you'll probably be a little lost just watching.
I know Venom loved the Jason reference.
Oh, are you kidding? I think I soiled my pants. But and Kevin Bacon, holy shit! Like I thought they were gonna go with David Hasselhoff because Chris Pratt or Star-Lord has brought up David Hasselhoff multiple times in the series, but they bust out Kevin Bacon. That was just that was way more awesome than it should have been. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that's really all I got for like any type of news stuff, unless you guys got some more.
I haven't really been catching. I've just been busy with work, so I haven't really been. News is news. There's 4K of Marathon Man coming out. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's it. December is always kind of light on horror news. We rarely get like big announcements or anything right around the holidays. So yeah, it kind of tracks.
Yep. I don't know. Do we even have like anything for like a burning question?
Well, the original was supposed to be top 10 Thanksgiving. That list of Thanksgiving films.
But it's no longer a November episode.
But me thinking with my dick ruined that moment.
Hey man, we're men. We tend to think with our dick, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
As long as you got to use your dick, then all is well.
Yeah.
Well, that list will be great for next Thanksgiving.
Yeah, save it. What do we do? Talk about Christmas movies? I mean, I feel like every horror podcast has probably done that already.
Talk about Fulci?
Yeah, I'd rather talk
Let's
about
talk about movies that take place in October.
Might as well, yeah. Shit.
All right then. Well, I guess with that, then I guess we'll take our break and come back with a couple of Derek's picks. Which, Derek, what were your picks?
So I decided, I wanted to talk about some Fulci. It's been a while. So I wanted to talk about City of the Living Dead. I was thinking of a movie to pair it up with. And yeah, Cemetery of Terror, Mexican horror. We got something from Italy. We got something from Mexico.
It's an international episode.
Yeah. And I think they do pair well together. It was actually a pretty good double feature.
They actually do. I'll get into why I feel like these were a good pairing. But yeah, I agree with Derek. These actually were pretty good. I watched them both today. One is a first-time watch. I think you know which one. The other one is obviously an all-time classic. So, but we'll get into it here in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be right back with City of the Living Dead and Cemetery of Terror.
I'll be right back.
Living dead. A cursed city, where the gates of hell have been opened.
You've got to. You must reclose those gates.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special broadcast, Dunwich police authorities have declared a state of emergency, effective immediately within Dunwich County. All citizens are requested to return to their homes as quickly as possible. In case of necessity, contact this station. DWC. The telephone number is 8259881. All citizens are urged to remain calm.
Did you see, when you were in this trance, did you see anything besides that tombstone?
Oh, yes. I saw a priest who, by hanging himself, opened the gates of hell.
She's still here. She's still in the house. No, she's in here. I know she's still in the house. I don't want to see her anymore. Jerry, get her out, please. Tell her to go. She's in here. Do you hear her?
Guess what? It's All Saints' Day.
A demanding, implacable enemy whose search for blood is never satiated.
Todos dudaban de sus poderes sobrenaturales. Nadie creyó en su pacto satánico. Hasta que en una noche de luna llena, un grupo de jóvenes penetró en el mundo del más allá, en el mundo del terror.
Mire, capitán. Usted desconoce muchas cosas de la vida de Devlon.
¿Cómo qué? ¿Como las misas negras? ¿Como sus rezos a Satanás?
¡Lena! ¡Lena!
Nadie antes había vivido una experiencia tan aterradora.
¡Cálmate! ¿Qué tienes?
¡Los mataron!
¿A quién mataron? ¿A quién?
¡A Oscar y a Mariana!
Ahora ellos ya saben que existe. Solo ellos podrán acabar con él. Cementerio del Terror. Cementerio del Terror, la más escalofriante pesadilla. Con Hugo Stiglitz, Erika Buenfil, Uzi Velasco, María Rebeca, Edna Volcan, Servando Mancetti, Eduardo Capetillo, René Cardona III, Andrés García Jr., Jacqueline Castro.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. Promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go! And now, on with the show.
And we are back, everybody. And we're going to start this evening of reviews off with a film from 1980 directed by the man, the myth, the legend, the Mr. Lucio Fulci. City of the Living Dead, aka The Gates of Hell, his first of his Gates of Hell trilogy.
You're not going to say the Italian title? Paura nella cita del morte viventi. I know Italian.
Well, I'm going to definitely have you say the title, the Spanish title of the other movie.
Oh, guaranteed.
But yeah, City of the Living Dead. Where do I start? Let's talk. A reporter and a psychic race to close the gates of hell after a suicide of a clergyman caused them to open, allowing the dead to rise from their graves. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, this movie has a very interesting cast to it. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher George. Last time I seen him, he bazookaed a grizzly. And it was awesome. Then we got, of course, the main star of all three of the Gates of Hell trilogy, Katarina McCall, legendary for these movies. We got a small role from a guy who goes through a lot of torture in Italian horror movies, Giovanni Labrano Radici as Bob.
Poor Bob.
Yeah, he like in I think the same year, a year later, he got his dick cut off in Cannibal Ferox.
Oh God.
We got a little cameo by Michele Soavi as the Tommy, the boyfriend of the girl in the Jeep that likes to throw up guts. Yeah, we got a bunch of people in this. Danella Adora, who's also in House by the Cemetery, who also is kind of, I know her from Dario Argento's Phenomena as one of the teachers of that movie. It's a terrible school in that movie. Worst school ever. But yeah, let's start on general thoughts and your history with this movie. Let's start with Mike.
All right, so my earliest experience with City of the Living Dead is, I think it was like a random rental. It's not the first Fulci movie I've seen. I think that would be Zombie, because Zombie 2, whatever people refer to it as, that used to be like the one Fulci movie that was like always in like the normie VHS sections. And I think a lot of the people that rented were people like me that didn't really know Fulci by name. It was just, oh, look at this cool looking rotted zombie on the cover. Now, it's interesting because I've grown to love Gates of Hell or City of the Living Dead over the years, but I do think it's a more difficult entry point for Fulci, because I think a lot of people, when they think of zombie movies, they think of them in the context of like the zombie apocalypse narrative, which Zombie kind of follows, because people really say, well, that's like Fulci's version of Romero, zombie apocalypse kind of. But Gates of Hell is really its own freaking corner of the zombie subgenre, because it's more than just zombies, really. It's like there's some almost like possession, there's magic or black magic or some type of like witchcrafty-ish, like it's hard to even nail down exactly what's going on 100% of the time, and that's part of why
it's very Lovecraftian.
Lovecraftian, yeah. It's very much its own thing. It's hard to really compare to anything, and I think because there's zombies in it, that it gets thrown around as like a zombie movie, and I think you can justify calling it like just a zombie movie, but I feel like there's so much more to it. The gore is top notch. I mean, you pretty much come to expect that from Fulci in any movie he makes. I actually like the story. I like how it's explained, that like why everything's happening that is happening. And just to wrap up general thoughts really quick on it, no one can forget the magical missing sort of ending to it, right? Like the legend of the story of like the missing reel or whatever that leads to kind of that abrupt ending.
But it's a movie it's a movie I highly recommend.
I do think like for someone with no context of Fulci, maybe on a first watch they'd be perplexed, like, hey, this is breaking all the rules of like what I think of as a zombie movie, but it's because it's not what you think of as a zombie movie. And once you get through that first watch and realize that, and then go into it thinking, just realizing, hey, this is its own thing with its own kind of lore to it. I think the enjoyment goes way up on multiple watches.
Yeah, I agree. Venom.
I had an interesting history with the Gates of Hell trilogy. I actually saw them backwards. I just, because of the way that my video store would get, movies in from overseas, I ended up watching House by the Cemetery first and then going back to this film. So this is the last of the trilogy that I actually saw. And this is an absolute classic. I love this movie. I steadfastly say this is not a zombie movie. Yes, there are people rising from the grave, but the last time I checked, zombies can't disappear and reappear at will. They don't have telekinesis, and they don't have superhuman strength generally. I look at this movie as demons. I look at it as these are demons. They are possessed people, dead bodies that are, coming back because of this priest and, him opening the gates of hell. And because I look at it that way, I end up getting a little bit more enjoyment out of it. Like Mike says, this isn't just a zombie movie because there's so much going on here with the great story, the great kills. I mean, yeah, the girl puking up her insides, is like a all-time kill for me. I absolutely love
Makes you
that
hungry,
scene.
doesn't it?
A little bit, actually. It makes me want barbecue. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what can I say about this movie? I absolutely adore it. May not be my favorite of the trilogy by any stretch, but just a wonderful movie. Great performances. I love the way the movie, how the story kind of starts with this woman supposedly dying during her seance, but then kind of coming back a couple of days later after somehow she was put in a coffin and didn't get embalmed, but we'll suspend disbelief for a little bit. But yeah, I definitely, I love this movie. I love the story. It's a quick watch. It's a solid 90 minutes. Pacing is great. Score, of course, it's Fulci. It's a spectacular score. Great performances. Mary Woodhouse. As Derek said, the woman who is the common denominator for all three of these movies, and she has a great performance in all three of them. So yeah, I mean, I can't add much more to this conversation that hasn't already been said for decades. It's a beautiful movie, a great way to start, his Gates of Hell trilogy. And the nice thing about this trilogy is like you don't have to really watch them in order by any stretch.
Yeah.
It's not like a traditional trilogy. It's more just three movies that Fulci made about the Gates of Hell or about the Gates of Hell opening. So I like that. It's kind of like Polanski's Apartment trilogy. You don't necessarily have to watch them in order because they're not technically connected. But yeah. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Like I said, beautiful kills. I love that 70s style blood that we still get here. This is 1980, I know, but we still got that beautiful bright red 70s blood that I absolutely adore. And what can I say about the director? Writer-director Lucio Fulci, easily my favorite Italian director. I actually, the first time that I appeared on 22 Shots during Italian Horror Month, and they ask every single guest that they have on, do you prefer Fulci or Argento? I literally snapped Fulci. And they were shocked because no one has ever given an answer that quick. Everybody kind of ums and ahs and, kind of goes back and forth. But for me, I am a Fulci guy. Despite the fact that Suspiria is in my top 10 horror of all time, I fucking adore that movie. Overall, over the course of an entire filmography, it's Fulci for me. And this is just a prime example of what makes this man an absolute master of horror. So yeah, spectacular movie. I've watched it every couple of years since probably 86 or 87, the first time I saw it. And yeah, absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig this movie a lot. Like the first time I watched it, I'll admit though, there was a lot of shit that I missed.
Yeah.
Which, you get with, which is weird because that's usually House by the Cemetery, and that's like the most straightforward of the movies.
Yeah,
people say, but Yeah, I don't know if they were zombies or demons. I kind of like your theory that they're demons. It makes more sense, especially with the way their eyes are demonic looking.
Yeah.
And they love to rip brains out of people's heads.
Holy shit. I actually have that in my notes. That's got to be Fulci's like go-to kill in 1980. We see it 3 times in this movie. God damn. And mind you, I'm not complaining. It's a great effect. It actually is.
And one of the first time,
like squeezing the brain out of the head or ripping it out. Just, dude, the priest guy in this, he's so creepy. Like every time he shows up, it's just creepy. When they're in their car and they shine the headlights and it shows him kind of hung up on the noose, and then he disappears. Yeah. And then he like reappears, just kind of staring, doing like almost like the Jedi mind trick of guts exiting out your mouth trick. I'm like, it's just, it's so good. And I feel like for folks that are mostly used to like American horror, like Fulci, he just kind of takes it to another level with like the viciousness and like Venom. You mentioned the score. There's a very aggressive nature to the way Fulci makes these types of movies, and I just love it because it's just such a change up from what you're used to.
Yeah, and hell, if you haven't noticed, like the main theme of this movie is technically, legitimately just a remix version of the zombie theme, which is awesome. I'll take that theme any day because I just love the Fabio Frizzi scores in general. Like, knocks it out of the park each time, especially with his work with Fulci. And the scene that gives me the most tension in this movie is the scene where Katarina McCall's in the coffin. Christopher George just takes this pickaxe and
almost kills her.
Yeah, and it's actually funny because it actually comes full circle because the last of the Gates of Hell trilogy has a similar scene with Bob where he's pressed against the door and his dad's wielding an axe trying to break the door down. It's a very similar technique, so I like that. It kind of, and even having a character named Bob in both the movies that bookend the trilogy, which is very interesting in that aspect. But interesting little fact about this movie: Fulci did not get along with Christopher George at all during the production. They fought a lot during the movie. From interviews I heard with Katarina McCall, because he always just lit his fucking cigars, which unfortunately for him, that's kind of how his career ended in his life, because he got throat cancer from smoking all those fucking cigars in all his movies. But and it's just interesting that it makes sense why his character ends the way it does, but it's kind of shocking on a first time watch for somebody, because he's kind of like the main, like he's the first name in the villain. Yeah. And we follow him throughout most of the movie, and bam, he's dead.
Yeah, it definitely has that Walking Dead sensibility to it, that no one is safe. Even the star isn't safe. Because, I 100% agree. The first time I watched this, I was shocked that he got taken out that early. Not early, but that, the fact that he didn't make it to the end, even though he's our basic, he's our main protagonist, was a little bit of a shock at the time. It's definitely something we weren't used to yet back then. So,
yeah. It says a lot when like you're used to certain conventional wisdoms, even in your horror movies, and then like a new door gets opened. I guess pun intended, like a door to hell. But when you see something like this that kind of is formatted different, there's a lot kind of more going on, and it's not that's like a super deep movie, but just different attributes of the demon zombie creatures than what you're used to seeing. It can be jarring on a first time watch, because you in your head you think there's like, okay, this is if I see zombies walking around, or what I think are zombies, I know the established rules in my head what they should act like. But then you throw on like a Fulci movie and it's like, wait a minute, these are totally different.
Yeah, one thing that I've always kind of dug about most Italian zombie films is that they're not flesh eaters. Very rarely do we see them actually go after someone and actually take chunks out of them. That's why I tend not to call these zombies. I tend to call them demons because it doesn't seem like they're, they seem way more intelligent than your average zombie. So the mere fact that they have their mental capacities.
Hell, they could be fucking centipedes for all we fucking know.
That's true. Absolutely.
They come out of walls like fucking.
Right. And to kind of
are you saying it could be the gates of Hellraiser?
Oh, stop it.
Clive Barker is probably a fan of this movie.
Guaranteed, absolute guarantee. But another thing I like about this movie is that even the scenes that aren't necessarily horror, quote unquote, are still incredibly creepy. The opening credits sequence, just showing the priest walking around a cemetery. Yeah. I mean, great opening sequence, beautiful music, it sets a creepy tone throughout for the rest of the movie. Obviously, once we see what the priest does at the end of the opening scene, it changes the context of that a little bit. But I just thought, watching it this time, the opening credit sequence was just so beautifully made, I wanted to point that out because I was really impressed with it. A scene of just a priest walking can be legit creepy in the middle of the day too, not like at night, like straight up middle of the day walking around a cemetery, and it's still, because of the score, because of the way it's shot, it's still effective. So one of the things I loved about Fulci.
Yeah, I like that this movie got into that small town perspective of the townspeople too. Yep. Which actually the only another movie from 1980 did as well was John Carpenter's The Fog.
Yep.
Where kind of similar. They both have fucking fog and atmosphere in them for sure. And the ghosts, those are ghosts in that movie, so they're not even zombies in that either. But I like that aspect that we don't get with a lot of these type of movies from this era, where you get to know the characters before, and when characters that you do get to know in normal conversations, when they go, it hits hard more, in that aspect, especially Carlo's character, because he's a psychiatrist, and some of his patients are seeing shit too, like Katerina. The fucking funniest scene of the movie though is the scene with the cops when they're just questioning everybody. And it's funny that everyone else in the seance has a rap sheet.
Hell yeah. Probably my favorite scene in this movie, and I had actually forgotten about it completely, because I haven't watched this movie in at least 3 or 4 years, is the fucking maggot attack. That scene is fucking awesome, because when the window blows open, at first it looks like snow. It looks like a snow machine blowing into the
shooting
window.
rice at them or something.
Exactly, but then when the camera closes up, they're fucking maggots everywhere. I appreciate that scene so much.
Yeah, they definitely spent some budget on maggot volume.
Yeah, and there's this random maggot baby in the middle of a corner that Bob.
Oh, right, the rotting baby. Yeah, that was cool. But and these maggots, man, these are the loudest maggots in the world. Because once the initial attack is over, and they're all just standing there in the sea of maggots, all you hear is squirming and shit, and it just adds to the creepy element of this scene. I loved it. Yeah.
It's pretty great. The priest looks like William Friedkin.
A little bit, yep.
Yeah. The two scenes that I know this movie's mostly scenes that I talked about with this movie is definitely the girl throwing up her guts and Bob's death scene, which is fucked up because it's not even by a zombie.
No, those are the kind of kills that are the hardest for me to take, because it's in the middle of this zombie / demon, attack that's going on in this town. Here's this one douchebag who accuses Bob. Place. Yeah, who just accuses Bob of something that he didn't do. Now, I understand Bob has a record. He's got a history. I guess he previously abducted someone for a short time and then got caught, whatever. So I understand that he would be a suspect. But the guy who actually kills them, to actually bust out with, and the funny thing is that when he caught Bob with his daughter, they were very clearly just talking. Bob wasn't attacking her. He wasn't tying her up. He wasn't doing anything nefarious whatsoever. But this guy just instantly becomes judge, jury, and executioner. And it's legitimately one of the saddest scenes in the movie because, you know, Bob may not be a classic character that goes down in the annals of horror, but he's a very sympathetic one, you know, very much like the killer in Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, you know, just someone else getting accused of a crime they didn't commit. And at least they get to come back and exact a little bit of a revenge, just like Bob does. So
Yeah.
you know, I'll give him credit for that, for giving us that little piece of satisfaction of seeing Bob get his revenge. Well, Demon Bob, I guess.
Yeah, and plus the whole ending of this movie is just fucking badass when the zombies actually do come out of the crypts. Yep. And then, you know, fucking the main Carlo just fucking impales the priest to save Katerina's life because he's starting to do the thing that makes Guts throw up.
Yeah, exactly. Staring at her.
Yeah, and it's a great shot too, like the priest burning because it's Katerina with like the blood tears and shit.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome. The scenery of this movie is like it's iconic. It's like every Fulci movie. There's like iconic imagery throughout it, and
yeah, he does gothic. Right? He knows how to do gothic horror. I love it, and set in modern time too. Like it's not like his shit has to be set in the 1700s for it to be very clearly gothic. Yeah. I mean, but that's going to be the one complaint I've always had about the movie is that the priest kind of goes down a little too easy. Like literally, they stab him and he bursts into flames, and then it's easy cleanup too because literally it just leaves a little pile of dust when he's done. I'm like, you know, easy cleanup ghoul, you know, available at Target or whatever. But yeah,
or is it?
But that's what I mean. Yeah, that would be the only complaint I would have about this movie is that with all the setup that we have about how badass these demons are, I just felt like he kind of went down a little easy. But it's a minor complaint at best. So.
Yeah, and you know that scene with the final rail. Yeah. How do you guys feel about like the exact like the ending of this movie?
Well, I've always kind of said I'm not a fan of when horror movies try to set up a sequel. And that's kind of what that ending kind of felt like. It felt like they were trying to set up, you know, a sequel or a trilogy of some kind. It's like I like when movies have definitive endings. Like you can still have a sequel to a movie that had a definitive ending, you know? But to actually try to give us that late jump scare and, you know, basically showing us that, oh, well, they're not out of it. You know, that they didn't actually save the day. They you know, they saved themselves for that day, but obviously it's still happening, you know, once you get that extra scene there at the end. So yeah, Mike will tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of movies that try to set up sequels with their final scene. But again, another just minor gripe. You know, nothing that would affect the rating of this film.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because, like Mike was saying, because there actually was footage of what actually happened, but it got lost. Oh. And that's why they do that thing with the mirror breaking, which weirdly enough, there's a movie that homages that, and it's like, I'm like, it even has like a scene where it says "For Lucio," and that's fucking William Lustig's Uncle Sam.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And yeah, it actually homages the very ending of City of the Living Dead, with the mirror cracks of the screen, and it says "For Lucio." Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh boy, sorry, Lucio, that your name's on this movie.
Oh well.
You're in a movie with Chef.
Ha!
But yeah, I dig it. It's a great movie. I do recommend it a lot.
Currently on Shudder too.
All three of the Gates of Hell trilogy are on Shudder, so by all means, check them out.
Hell yeah. Guys ready to get into some Mexicos?
Oh, I love it. I'm ready for a taco.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to jump 5 years into the future of 1985. 1985? I got to get back, Doc. Okay, Marty. But anyways.
Great Scott.
Yeah, from a film from Mexico. Venom, say the Mexican title of this movie.
Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm totally not prepared. Okay. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. That one.
Is the
Sorry.
title is it a straight translation or is it kind of different?
Oh, it's
No,
actually it's a straight
it's-
translation. Yeah, Cementerio del Terror. Cementerio del Terror. Cemetery of Terror.
Cemetery of Terror.
Just the way I'd say it.
There you go. Of course you would.
The first film directed by Ruben Galindo. Did I say that right?
Galindo. Yep.
Galindo Jr., who would also direct kind of like a subgenre of like supernatural slasher / other types of movies mixed in with them. Like Cemetery of Terror definitely has slasher elements with a few other elements within it we'll get into in a minute, but he also did Don't Panic, which is like a Mexican version of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
Yeah, and he
Great
also
movie,
did
actually.
and he also did The Grave Robbers from '92, which is also pretty fun, and yeah,
I haven't seen.
yeah, check it out. It's good stuff. And yeah, a little plot synopsis on this. On Halloween, a group of medical students steal the corpse of a serial killer from a morgue and raise him from the dead, inadvertently putting themselves and a group of young neighborhood children in danger. Yeah, this movie stars a lot of Mexican people. The only name that I actually know is the main star of the movie, who is Hugo Stiglitz, who I know from Umberto Lenzi's Nightmare City. He's the main actor in that movie.
Nice.
And probably most famously known, Quentin Tarantino actually named a character in Inglourious Bastards after Hugo Stiglitz. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Hugo Stiglitz, the German guy who defected and started killing all the Germans, which is pretty fucking awesome because I've seen a few other movies he's been in, like Tin of Terror, which is a killer shark movie, and what else was he in? Actually, another movie that involves sharks, Cyclone, which is about like people stranded on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and they're surrounded by sharks.
Nice.
Which was that one's all right. It's kind of a little too long. And your wife would hate one scene in that movie, Venom.
Oh yeah. I can already tell.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much Hugo Stiglitz plays Dr. Loomis in this movie if he was in the middle of Scarface with his outfit. But yeah, and it's about like this fucking guy that's like Michael Myers, pretty much uses beer claws. That's his finishing move, the beer claw. Like he's fucking Sabretooth from X-Men.
Oh shit.
And he gets wasted, and these stupid kids decide to, let's party, it's Halloween, let's go steal a body. And luckily they don't last too long.
Thank God.
Then we get like the climax of the movie with the kids, which at least I'll give the kids this much credit: they don't drop any weapons on purpose in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and then it turns into a fucking zombie movie out of nowhere, and it's fucking pretty atmospheric. I like, for the budget of this movie, this movie does progress with like a kind of a cool atmosphere to it, especially with like the fog and shit and the setting of the movie. And it borrows from a lot of things too. Like I saw a little bit of Evil Dead in this, fucking City of the Living Dead, Halloween, of course. I dig that about it. At the same time, where I think a lot of other viewers might like, oh yeah, this movie just borrows from this movie, but movies been doing that for years, so I'm never like that type of reviewer. Anyways, like I said with Smile earlier, it's fucking It Follows, but with a fucking different subject matter. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna start with Venom. This is a first time watch review.
Yeah. This is the part where I break Derek's heart, unfortunately. But yeah, this was a first time watch, and it will more than likely be a last time watch. This movie isn't bad. It's legitimately not. But I had some problems with the story right from the start. I feel like Devlin was such a compelling character, yet we didn't get a lot of his backstory, and that bothered me. Like I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him when he was still alive, like before the police took him out. I know that Dr. Carden, excuse me, does give us a little bit of his backstory, Satan worshiper, blah blah blah. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more because, like Derek said, he's ridiculously strong even in life, even before he's killed. Like Derek said, he's basically Sabretooth. He just goes around just slashing people with his hands. And that kind of, unfortunately to me, that kind of makes him a boring killer. Like, I mean, there's cinematic killers like Jason and Michael that are very strong and could easily kill everybody with their bare hands if they wanted to, but they still, use a weapon for flair, every now and then. And I feel like this killer kind of needed that. At the very least, if he is going to kill everybody with his bare hands, do something different. Crush somebody's head, tear their head off, pull out their intestines, something. All this guy really does is he just swipes at people, cuts them up in the face, and then he basically just starts jamming his open hand into their midsections, basically just tearing them open. And I just started to get kind of bored with that by the end of the movie. It's like, come on, kill somebody a different way. I did like that he looked like discount George Eastman, so I did get some Anthropophagus and
Absurd.
What was the sequel? Yeah, and Absurd vibes, definitely. I actually thought it was George Eastman at first. I had to open up IMDb because I was so.
It looks like
convinced
if
it was
George
him.
Eastman and James Brolin had a baby.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. But yeah, I didn't hate this movie. I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad movie. It's just the lack of backstory. And then I had the same problem with this one that I had with the last movie as far as its ending goes. Like its ending just feels too convenient for me. And then when you get the final scene right before the credits starts, it kind of nullifies the whole third act of the film. It feels like everything that the kids and Carden did is basically just nullified because the book didn't burn all the way. And it's like, well, shit, that's a terrible way to end it. Like, I understand that horror movies 9 times out of 10 are going to have that style of ending where, the horror isn't over and potentially there could be a sequel. And I've already kind of talked about how much that really doesn't make me happy all that much. I like to see a story. I want to see a story beginning, middle, and end. And you can still give us a sequel later on. We've seen it done many times. I mean, the original Matrix was a solid movie. We got a beginning, middle, and end. And even though we got 2 more movies, or 3 more movies technically after it, it doesn't affect the fact that the first movie was a solid enclosed story. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more backstory on this one. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Devlin while he was still alive and a serial killer. Like, how did this guy get away from the cops for so long? Because it doesn't even seem like he's trying to hide. Like, he doesn't run. He's very Jason Voorhees in the sense that he doesn't run. He doesn't even try to avoid the authorities. He basically is just a force of nature. He just walks through everything that's in front of him. And that part of it I appreciate. But like I said, I just would have liked to have seen a little bit deeper story here. And I definitely would have liked to have seen some actual zombie kills. Because actually, once the zombies start coming out of the ground, there are no more kills. Basically, that's it for kills the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because obviously our original 6 teenagers, they're the ones, they're the guilty pleasure kills of the movie. Because these are some of the shittiest male characters, man. These guys are. And not just the ones in that original group, even the older kid in the group when he was making fun of his sister not wanting to be alone at Halloween. I'm like, why is every guy in this movie a douchebag? God damn it. No one knows how to treat a woman in this movie. And again, it's 1985. It's a trope, excuse me. The trope of the boyfriend being cynical and not believing everything that his girl says, blah, 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 making fun of her. Oh, are you scared? It's kind of old. I think if I would have seen this movie in 85, I would have been a lot more forgiving of it. Obviously, I would have been younger and wouldn't have had the pedigree of horror watches that I have now. But seeing it now, I can see why people like it. I didn't hate it, like I said. I just don't see myself revisiting it. You know, it's an okay movie that could have been a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the main problem with it is it's just copying American horror stereotypes from that time period. And it's doing it kind of lazily, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's valid. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mike, what about you, man? Was this a first time watch for you?
All right, so this was also a first time watch for me, and I'm gonna pick up the pieces of your heart that Venom broke and sew them back together, and say I actually enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I don't really disagree with a lot that's been said. Like I definitely see where it's a
I don't disagree at all either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a patchwork piece of a lot of other zombie or horror movies that came out at the time, but that's kind of what made me enjoy it a lot. It's like familiar, but also kind of new. I like the elements. I really liked the set decoration of the cemetery. It just looked like all dingy, and it made like a very scary and creepy setting. I don't mind that we didn't get too deep with the characters in this one. I also agree with Venom. I did for a second was thinking like, is that George Eastman, or did Eastman have some siblings, because he looks very
is that Dave Parker?
Very similar. Dave Parker, yeah. Dave Parker's uncle or something. I like how it kind of switched from, because like when you read the description, you're expecting like all these zombies, and then for like a while it's just the one kind of repossessed, or I guess you'd say repossessed. I guess
the
guy. Yeah, and then halfway or 3/4 to the movie, then we start getting the army of zombies, and I kind of liked their look, and it's a little bit different flavor of. It's like you had the tropes of American horror, but the looks were still a little different and unique. I like teenagers being teenagers. That's what they did, right? In these types of movies, where it's like when the two couples are trying to get it on, and of course the women are like, "I heard a noise.
Especially
go check it out."
All the movies had despicable men, like even Teen Wolf. You know?
Oh yeah.
The fact that these guys didn't understand why the girls were mad after they lied about the entire evening just blows my fucking mind. Really? You don't understand why they're mad? What the fuck?
They'll get over
it. Yeah. And then one thing that I did kind of forget to say in my general thoughts that's probably going to make me an enemy here and there, but these are some of the worst, most ineffective zombies I've ever seen. These zombies don't kill anyone in this movie. Literally, no one dies by the hands of a reanimated dead person other than Devlin, our main antagonist. Multiple times throughout the movie, these zombies actually have kids in their hands. Like, they actually grab them, lift them off the ground, and then somehow the kids still get away. Like, this is part of the reason, like, I gave my reasons earlier why I don't think our first movie was a zombie movie. I'm going to say the same thing about this one, but for a different reason. Not because I think these things are demons, but because they're so fucking ineffective. They're decorations. They're literally decorations throughout this movie. Now, granted, they're good-looking decorations. Absolutely. I agree with Mike. I do like the design of these zombies. There is plenty of atmosphere during the cemetery scenes and the scenes in the abandoned house. Like, the set design is great. Creature effects are pretty cool. But like I said, the fact that these zombies don't kill anyone is just ever so slightly disappointing to me. Just a little.
Yeah, but they didn't expect the guy who killed a bunch of zombies from Nightmare City to come and hit him with their car either.
That's valid too, yep.
Hugo Stiglitz is like, he knew all along, like, he carried a fucking crucifix with him. He just pulls out this giant crucifix at the end of the movie out of his Scarface Miami shirt.
And one of the other scenes I was really laughing at was when the tree fell on him. Excuse me, let me correct myself. When the branch fell on him. The thinnest fucking tree I've ever seen that somehow is able to hold down a fully grown human being. I'm literally looking at him like, dude, you could lift that with one arm. And he's just like, I can't get it. Kids, run. Just run. Leave me alone. It's like, are you kidding me? That didn't even look like it didn't qualify as a tree. It was a sapling.
Oh, I love it. It's so fucking funny.
Oh, for entertainment value, it's on point. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, if you're trying to make a serious horror movie and you expect me to believe that tree can hold down a full-grown human, yeah, you got to try harder.
Good times. Yeah, this is definitely a movie you gotta watch for some beers and you definitely fucking.
I totally agree. Like, if I would have watched this inebriated in some way, shape, or form, I absolutely would have found it fun. Problem is, since it was a first-time watch, I try not to imbibe anything on a first-time watch so that I can really give it a good review. And maybe that was the mistake I made. Maybe I should have had a few beers. Maybe I should have watched it with my wife.
Maybe we should have did these in Halloween like we were supposed to.
Well, yeah, there's that, but we can't go back in time, unfortunately. But yeah. I mean, I'm still okay having watched it. It's another movie under my belt. I will absolutely take it. I didn't, as I've already said a few times, I didn't hate the movie. I absolutely didn't hate the movie. But I just saw so many areas of the film that could have been improved that it kind of soured me a little bit by the time we got to the end.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a direct-to-video movie in a few ways, which I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, too, with this one before, actually, when I first seen it, which was a year ago.
Wow.
And so I kind of enjoyed. I knew it was super low budget, like they couldn't even afford a tree, But other than that, yeah, Mike, I love the look of the zombies, man. They look like the zombies from Burial Ground.
Yes.
But
yeah.
especially when they're coming out of their tombs and shit, and even some of the background ones that wear fake masks, which I also love.
Speaking of the zombies coming out of the ground, some of these zombies literally broke through concrete fucking walls. Like, some of them came out of mausoleums, and those mausoleums got concrete walls, and some of these motherfuckers are literally walking through concrete walls, but they can't kill a child. That's kind of the dichotomy that gets me. It's like, in one scene, these zombies are ridiculously strong that they can break through a concrete mausoleum, but then they can't kill a child when they get it in their arms. Minor gripes, I understand, but
because I think the whole thing that they're not really in control of their own actions too. That's the problem.
I can vouch for that. I mean, I can buy that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what's the point? That's why I call them decorations, because that's what they felt like to me. They were just Halloween decorations. Like, why even resurrect them if they're not going to be effective?
Because it's fucking awesome to look at.
I'll accept it. I'll accept it. I did like that scene, definitely.
Yeah.
Them coming out of the ground and coming out of the mausoleums and the tombs and everything. I did enjoy that scene a lot.
And to be fair, this also happened. They actually redid this scene in Satan's Slave from 2 years ago. And the zombies didn't kill any people in that one either. I'm just saying.
Oh, God. That movie's a masterpiece, though. Holy shit.
And it was influenced by this movie. There we go. Mic drop.
Yeah.
All right.
Shots fired.
Yeah, but,
No shots fired.
We'll say that for podcast teapots.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I recommend it. It's not perfect, but I don't think it's perfect. I know Venom definitely doesn't think it's perfect. Even Mike agrees that it's not perfect. It depends on what the viewing experience was for you. If you're looking for something that kill time, have fun with, some cheesy 80s horror goodness.
Yeah, I think it's easily, for being a foreign film, I think it's pretty easily digestible because, like Venom said, maybe it hurts certain audiences that it's so familiar with some of its tropes, but I think that also helps with other audiences because while technically it's a foreign movie, it's still going to have a lot of what people are used to. So I think if American audiences give it a chance, especially now that's on Shudder, I think people would dig it.
Hell, and even like because the transfer was done by Vinegar Syndrome, and
Yeah, it looks nice. No.
yeah, like I was actually shocked because I did try to watch this movie on like an old DVD rip that Dave sent to me for the '85 show. I couldn't fucking see shit on that DVD rip, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching.
Yeah, I did like. It seems like the video game Silent Hill kind of borrowed something from this movie, because whenever Devlin was in the house, we noticed that it turned into radio static on the radio. You know, you have those two kids.
Yeah.
And then, like, at first it started to go in and out. But then once Devlin actually was physically in the house, they lost the radio completely. It was just static. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
you know, obviously it reminds me of Silent Hill, and maybe that's where Silent Hill got it from. But yeah, I thought
Silent Hill was influenced Staying Slaves in Silent Hill.
There you go.
See, mic drop.
I'm okay with that. I will say, though, what the fuck was that music that they decided to listen to? These are what, 19, 18, 19, 20-year-olds in 1985, and they put on 50s classic rock? Really? That's what you went with? Interesting.
Hey, you never know in Mexico, man.
No, hey, I knew a lot of Mexicans in the mid 80s. I don't remember any of them. They would listen to doo-wop and shit like that, but like this was like just classic 50s radio rock, and I'm just like, what? Really? This is what you went with?
That's probably what they could afford.
I mean, that's valid too, but goddamn, it's 80. It's like everybody that age I knew in 85 was either listening to metal, pop, or rap. You know what I mean? A little bit of punk too.
Hell, the only reason why they got the fucking song "Don't Panic" and "Don't Panic" was because they made the fucking singer the fucking star of the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the other Ruben Galindo that's on Shudder? Because when they
Don't Panic
put Cemetery of Terror, they put another one on there with it.
Grave Robbers?
Is that it? I haven't seen that one either.
I think Don't Panic's on Shudder too. They're fun. Like Grave Robbers is kind of in line with this, where it's kind of that you could definitely tell that's a fucking directed DVD or video movie from that time, 92. That's yeah, but
so would you say Cemetery of Terror is like the best of the bunch that are on Shudder?
I like Don't Panic too, if that's still on there. You know, I think it's a lot more fun. It's kind of cheesy. Plus, it's kind of like even the Freddy Krueger makeup on the main dude. It's kind of funny. Yeah. You know, it's kind of cheesy. Like
what was up with his hands? Like what the fuck was up with his hands? They were like these little stubby like claws. Like how does a guy that big?
It almost looked like fish person hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like frog person. Yeah. I mean, I could see the claws, and I can understand why he attacks people the way he does, but it just. Again, why the fuck are his hands so small? Like it was just really, really weird. It made me think of Donald Trump.
Maybe they grow back like Deadpool's and he had baby hands.
I guess, but I mean, he was fucking some women up, both as a living human and as a reanimated corpse with those hands. So I mean, I'll give him the credit. I'll give him all the credit that's due. I just wish they would have said like, what the this guy is like 6'6" and he has the tiniest hands.
And you know what they would have did? They would have been like Cult of Thorn.
No, stop it.
That's why you don't explain things, Venom.
Derek really wants the Cult of Thorn to happen.
That's why you don't explain. Well,
I think Derek's the president of the Cult of Thorn.
I know. I'm just saying, like Venom wants, that's the best part about Michael Myers in the original movie, because we don't know anything about him. And when they started to explain more shit about him in every fucking choose your own adventure, I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
The Cult of Corey coming soon.
Oh, stop it. Don't even wish that into existence.
That's why sometimes no story is better.
Valid. I'll go with that. I will definitely, because they could have given us a stupid backstory that would have made me legitimately hate the movie. And like I said, I don't hate it. Yeah. I just wish we got a little more. That's all.
Yeah. Did Tarek just say sometimes no story is better?
Ah!
I did. Don't go down that road. Don't write that down. Don't do dark galoshes. Don't do dark galoshes, Argento.
No, you don't want to go to that cemetery.
He also, man, he ripped through those 6 kids. Like it was literally like a 10-minute scene, and he literally went through all 6 of them like in quick.
Which I was happy because if they stayed any longer, I would have been fucking annoyed.
No, valid. I mean, I had no issues with the girls other than the fact that they agreed to go to this stupid thing.
Yeah,
But,
that redhead
you know,
girl was my favorite.
Which one?
The redhead.
Oh, I like the brunette.
I like them all.
No, valid. They're all cute, but yeah.
I'd be in a human centipede with two of them at least.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
But anyways, if you're interested in Cemetery of Terror, it's on Shudder. It's in Mexican. Read subtitles. Don't be lazy. Just enjoy the ride. Either way.
Yep.
All right, yeah. I think that's going to do it for our discussions on our movies tonight. So I guess we can transition into closing out the show. But to help close out our show, we actually have a guest. Can you guys believe it? An 11th hour guest. We do. Guest, introduce yourself. Or not.
Okay. I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Lacey.
It's me. No, I actually, I got to hear a little bit of I didn't get to hear the whole show, but just to piggyback off of what you guys were just discussing, you know, my favorite line almost of any movie is when Billy Loomis says, before he ruins it and gives a motive, he says things are a lot more scarier when there is no motive, right?
Yeah.
And then he fucked it all up by having a revenge motive. It's and I think a franchise that is guilty of doing this is Paranormal Activity.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much scarier when it was unexplained. Like, you don't know why these things are happening. Like, that first movie, nobody knows it has anything to do with, like, a witch or a cult. Like, everybody thinks it's, like, all ghost-related, right?
Yeah.
And that's so much scarier. And then, like, it gets so far from, like, that first film. I know a lot of people appreciate, 3, and that's where it explains it. And 3 is scary. There are scary moments in 3. But, like, when it explains too much, and it just lost me, because that first Paranormal experience in the theater, so, like, we're all avid people that go to the movie theater still, right?
Of course.
The movie theater experience is next to none, in my opinion. Like, like there's no comparison. Like, I will open a movie theater. I will have a GoFundMe if movie theaters ever go out. You know what I mean?
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. The day that movie theaters go away, I build my home theater right there.
I think we will all band together to create the last movie theater standing.
And it will be in Bo Ransdell's house.
Nice. I like it.
It's going to be a thing. But until then, this was at a point in time, like, to where movie theaters were selling out, and this was like the next Blair Witch, right? Is what people were, like, dubbing this film, right? Yeah, absolutely. And so everybody was like, my whole family was like, we all got to go together. We have to see it together. It was one of those kind of things, which is super cute, because that doesn't happen now in my life, And I just remember, like, we all went to the theater, and they were like, well, it's pretty much sold out, but we have these front row seats. And it's so yes, I had to watch the Paranormal Activity, like, the front row, to where, like, you're going to get neck cramps.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's right there, And this movie, like, triggered my sleep paralysis like nothing else. And it was scary. It was right there. Like, you could see things flying, and you just felt like you were in it. Like, it was 3D, but it wasn't. And it was just, like, I will never sit in those seats ever, ever. I don't think anybody wants to, right?
Only time I ever sat in the front row was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, just because.
Was it by choice?
No, of course not. It just that was the only seat available.
Right. So you do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how popular this movie was,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I think this was, what, 2008?
Sounds right.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
Somewhere around there, right? Like mid-2000s.
Because part 2 was 2011, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 2008, 2009, maybe. I'm pretty sure it's 08.
Mhm.
But I just remember, like, we all went and, like, we had, like, 9 people. And they're like, if you all want to sit together, this is where you got to go. But this is actually where you have to go because this is all that's left. And it was, you know, to get back to your theme of to where they explain too much. This movie explains nothing. The first film explains nothing. And then the rest of it kind of just takes away from it, I feel.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct.
Yeah,
but I'll always side with a movie giving me a good backstory. Obviously, they can't all be good, and I understand. And I even made that point during the review today that maybe they would have expanded the story and it would have sucked. And, you know, I appreciate that. I totally do. But I love my stories. I 100% love good stories, good character arcs, good narratives. And because of that, I've just always kind of leaned towards wanting a story in my movie. I know it's not always going to be good, but at least if I get some kind of explanation, it just kind of it just makes it a little bit more enjoyable for me. Now, I'm not disagreeing with Lacey whatsoever. She's 100% correct. Sometimes less is more, you know?
Well, I have to ask you, Venom, like, because I know you're a very avid, you know, franchise watcher as well as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been a sequel that has ruined a movie for you because they over-explain something?
Honestly, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to play the compare game. So there have been plenty of instances where a movie, a second or third movie in a franchise absolutely sucks, but I still adore the first one. Like for me personally, there's nothing that could ruin a great movie experience. No matter how bad the Halloween sequels got, Halloween 78 is still one of the greatest horror films ever made.
I think that was going to be one of my examples is Halloween H2O. That ending felt so definitive at the time that it happened.
Yep.
And then we get Resurrection. Like, I choose, like, I mean, it's fun to watch, whatever, and make fun of. Mm. But I feel like H2O is the definitive end of that timeline for me.
Don't tell Donanelli because he loves Resurrection. Don't ask me why. But
we just talked about this on, it will be the premiere episode of the Top 10 Horror Countdown. We talk about it. We do.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
But I'm just, you know, like, so I'm curious if is there a sequel that has actually ruined it for you guys?
No, not for me personally. No, never.
Okay. I don't think anything has the ability for me to tarnish the good that's come before something bad. Like, I could say, like, the Terminator sequels outside of, like, 2, even 3 to some aspect, like, start getting pretty mediocre, but the first will always be a classic. The second will always be excellent.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I don't think anything can ruin the original. What about you, Lacey?
Has there been?
I guess you get the paranormal.
The original for you guys?
One more time, Lacey.
Has there been a sequel that has surpassed the original?
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, Dream Warriors.
Oh no, definitely not.
I think some of the Friday the 13th franchise movies are better than the original.
Oh yeah, I way prefer part 2 to part 1, and I love.
I think 1 through 4, every single one kind of gets better as it goes. To be honest,
absolutely.
I gotta disagree with you guys. Like, I thought that for the longest time. I was like, 4 is the best, and then I was like, 3 is the best, and then like I just recently rewatched the first one, and I was like, oh my god, this is a fucking masterpiece.
It absolutely is. I mean, I saw that in the theater with my mother opening weekend, and it was just one of the best murder mysteries I'd ever seen, but with gore. I mean, how great is that?
Like, you know, it's so weird how horror affects us at different stages. Like, I mean, I watched all of these movies a million times, and I'm like, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. And let's just break it down to franchises, right? Because, and I think that's the amazing thing, and that's why we keep coming back to them. Yeah. Is because they give something for everybody. Like, it's not just like, hey, we're going to leave you out in the cold. We're going to give you that ridiculous space movie that you've always fucking wanted. Or, we're going to put you out in the desert. Or, like, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Literally. But for me, like, growing up, like, I was at the age of growing, like, I know some of you guys grew up with it as they were coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, the peak of it was the sequels. So maybe that's why I'm such a fan of sequels, and they keep the legacy living. And I think a lot of people forget that. Like, they're just trying to keep it going and live on.
Yeah. The problem is that when you love a franchise as much as some of us do, I'd rather they leave it alone. I never ever want to see. I never want to see another Friday the 13th movie ever. It's done.
No.
Nope. I fucking never want to see another Friday the 13th movie.
End for you.
What?
What is the definitive end for you?
What do you mean? I love them all. I mean, you got to realize Friday is my favorite franchise.
Where would your preference be of where the franchise would have ended?
Yeah, where should they have stopped?
No, I don't regret any of the movies they made.
But where would you have liked them to have ended it?
Well, I mean, I think 99% of Friday fans would say Part 4. I mean, what do you call it? Tom Savini went back to do the final chapter because he was promised that was going to be the last one. That's the only reason he came back to do the effects. I would have been very okay if they ended it there. Now, obviously, that was before Jason became a rock star, before he was on Arsenio and, making appearances and out in public for non-horror things. So I understand that Jason wouldn't have become the rock star that he would have been. But again, as far as the actual story arc, I would be okay if they would have ended it with 4. But I still do love all of them that came after for one reason or another. Mm-hmm. Despite Jason X being terrible, I still can enjoy it and watch it periodically. So yeah, I like. What's up?
Well, okay, no, like I get that, like, but so like my favorite franchise, everybody knows, is Scream, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Time, shut up. All right, so the longest time, all I had was Scream 3. Yes, I have come to appreciate it. Years gone on, right? But if that was where it ended, do you know how disappointed I would be?
No.
Like, there's a bigger... No, like, I guarantee you there's something bigger at play. And I believe Radio Silence is doing... I know you guys weren't the biggest fans of 5, right?
I liked it. I don't know about these... I know these two guys were different, but I enjoyed it.
It was just more of the same for me. It wasn't a bad movie. It just... I don't know that it needed to be made, but, whatever. That's just
I had some issues, but I enjoyed the ride with it. If that makes sense.
But, I mean, like, if you look at, like, some of the other sequels of the big 4, right? Mm-hmm. At least this is a cohesive story.
I mean, yeah, it's the same story we've gotten 4 times, but yeah.
But it's still relevant because it's playing on today's times.
Well, Scream has always been relevant. It's always been meta. That's their thing. I mean, they started it, and they're probably going to end it by burying it into the fucking ground. But yeah, Scream. You got to realize that Scream isn't my franchise. Like, I was already 30 years old when the first one came out. I'm just not the target market.
You were 30?
I was 30 when 30. I was 29. So yeah, I mean.
Venom, you're 20 years older than me?
If you're 32, then yes.
I'm 35.
No, I'm 52.
So.
Scream came out in 96.
I was
okay.
16.
So I was 28.
I was 10.
So you're 10 years older than me. Yes.
What? No, I'm way more than 10 years. If you're
Like
35,
17 years older.
I'm 17 years older than you. I'm 17 years.
87.
Yeah, I was born in 70. So like my point is, it doesn't matter what exact age I was. The point is that I wasn't the target market for Scream. I can appreciate what it did. I absolutely can. I'm not going to shit on a franchise that people love.
So where were you at in the 90s? Like, what was your motif?
Foreign. In the 90s, that's where I discovered foreign horror. And everything coming out of Japan, Italy, that's the shit that I was really
makes
digging
so
on.
much sense, though, because, like, I feel like I didn't get into that until, like, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
To the foreign market. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Everybody's journey is different in the genre that we love. I'll never give anybody shit because they, saw something late.
That's why I love you all, because you all turn me on to something that, like, I would never have watched, period.
Well, that's nice. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Know.
Like, honestly, like, Derek made me watch, like, the fucking Willy Wonka guy.
In the glass
cage. Dude's face. Like, it's so fucked up. Mr. Venom will make me watch, like, a creature feature that I never fucking heard of. Mike Merriman is just there in the corner jerking off.
He's not jerking off. He's sleeping.
That's true. That's true. I was thinking about Dan Chase. Sorry.
Hey.
No, I think you guys all have such an amazing perspective on horror. And I credit a lot of where I've come from. I think I've come up a lot, and I think I've evolved a lot because of you guys. So
ever since the fateful day you put yourself on the map by posting about walking out of It Chapter 1, the world was never the same since. I mean, I think at least us, we knew you before that, but I think that really. That created like the mini firestorm of like, oh my God, how dare she say that? And that's kind of like what elevated. But I think we knew you before that, yeah.
Oh yeah, much before.
And I have to kind of rectify something here. I did just I went to a bar during Halloween. They did a Scream-a-thon, and I was so in it, and we watched all the Scream movies. And then they were like, all right, so to end Halloween, we're gonna watch It Chapter 1, 2, and then the new ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and I watched the 1999 or the 1990s miniseries, and yeah, it's not that good.
Ouch! Ow! Stab me in the face.
You heard it here first.
Damn.
But at the same time, no, I love the first portion of
when they're in the 50s and they're kids.
Yes, when they're children. However, when it gets to them when they're adults, it's bad. It's really bad.
I love you, Bev.
We'll agree to disagree.
So you like it when they're adults?
I love all of the 90 minutes. I mean, you gotta realize I watched that when it aired.
I still think it's better than what we got for the Andy, whatever his fucking name is.
Let's again, we'll agree to disagree.
Why are we so you like Andy whatever?
I love Andy Muschietti. I adore him. I love everything he's done.
I'm so confused by what you're saying to me right now.
Well, I mean, hey, I mean, and I'm confused.
Like the 90s, or do you like the new rendition better?
I don't prefer one over the other. I think they're both perfect. I think the 1991 had the perfect Pennywise for a TV movie, whereas the new ones again had the perfect Pennywise for an R-rated cinematic film. You got to realize the 1991 was a TV movie, so obviously, you're obviously not getting a lot of the horror set pieces that you're going to get.
Can you imagine Tim Curry though if they had a budget?
The thing is that if Tim Curry would have been offered the script that Andy Muschietti wrote, he would have never done it. Way too violent. I mean, you got to realize that he only really attacks one person in the original in a violent way.
Georgie,
which
the
is
youngest
Georgie, exactly. If the movie would have been, if they would have tried to make in 1990 what we got in 2017 and 19, Tim Curry would not have done it. And that's why I say the 90s the 90s version, or the 1990 version, is a perfect TV horror film. It's a TV movie, and I think they fucking nailed it.
It's the best mini series out there.
Plus,
One of, yeah.
Plus, Tim Curry didn't want to really do like heavy prosthetics to it because he did that with Legend. And he's like, he didn't want to go through that again. That's why the makeup's kind of.
His poor neck had to hurt when he was done with that production. Those horns look like they're 30 pounds each.
Well, I guess we know when Lacey comes back as a guest for the whole show what her picks might be.
Killer clowns.
But what a great way to kind of round out and close out the show with a special guest. I guess there's always room in hell for Lacey Lou.
That was our burning question.
I know that was like a burning question segment at the end. Well, before we get out of here, we're actually going to let everyone know where else they can hear us. And since you're here, Lacey, I'll let you go too. But let's start with Venom. Venom, what do you have out there right now for people to listen to?
All right. We have No More Room in Hell presents Creature Comforts, episode 13. It just dropped last week. In that episode, Derek, Don, and myself look at 1973's The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. This is actually our first foray into Ray Harryhausen films. And I think you'll be surprised by some of the comments that we make about the film, both positive and negative. So, yeah, check out that episode. That is currently available on darkdiscussions.com. And then the only other thing I have is a guest spot. Basically, last night, actually, I made my triumphant return to It's Not Horror, okay?
Okay.
I'm not rejoining by any stretch, but they did literally one of my favorite action movies of the 2010s, which is Dread. And when they told me they were doing Dread and then they had an extra spot, I jumped on it because I fucking adore that movie. So that was fun. I
love your passion, Venom.
Hey, I'm Hispanic. I got fiery blood.
No, I just love your passion for film in general.
Who's all doing NFW now? Is it just whoever kind of shows up?
I'm not sure about NFW at all. I mean,
you were talking about It's Not Horror, okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I meant It's Not Horror, okay.
Yeah, It's Not Horror. It's got a whole. I mean, Nudi's still there, but basically.
I mean, I know Nudi Nudi captains the ship, but like, is it like there's all these people that could potentially show up? Because that's kind of how it used to be.
Right. When I was on the show, it was pretty much. When I was on the show, it was almost always the five of us, the main five of us, and. It seems like Scott and Heather are just kind of show up every now and again. Same thing with Android Virus. You know, he's there every now and again. So yeah, the cast as I know it is pretty much gone. I still had a really good time with Mona and Willis and Neil and Android on the episode. Like I said, it's one of my favorite action movies of the last decade. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to be on that. Anyway, I'm not sure when that'll be available, probably sometime next week. So look out for that. Also on Dark Discussions. And that's pretty much it for me. The only thing I got coming up, it's kind of fortuitous that Miss Lacey Lee joined us because my next guest spot will be on Cut to the Chase.
And we're gonna do it this time.
And we're gonna do it this time. So I'm excited. And they picked a great movie.
It's not Adam Sandler.
It is not Adam Sandler. And hey, I still would have done Hubie Halloween.
I know you would have.
I'm a professional. I do whatever I'm asked to do. But yeah, I definitely wasn't looking forward.
Might just have you do a whole Adam Sandler retrospective at some point.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be like 3 seconds long.
No, it would not be. It would not be. Like there is depth to Adam Sandler. I know you don't see it, but sorry. Go on, Mike Merriman.
Were you done, Venoms?
Oh yeah.
I'll pass it to Derek. All right, Derek, what do you got?
Well, I just got Creature Comforts. That's all I got because I've been taking kind of a step back from podcasting. I just like to do my no.
Don't make me yell at you, boo boo.
For what?
They're here.
I was gonna mention that. Let me finish. Yeah. So yeah, Creature Comforts, which we just recorded. We just did Golden Voyage of Sinbad. That's out. Our next episode should be out in December, where we're actually going to be doing the brand new Netflix show Troll, a movie, which from the director of Cold Prey. So can't wait to check that out. And I also have some back catalog stuff on Cinema Attack. We also have some stuff on what's it called, the Cut to the Chase Network with their Here podcast, which maybe someday will come back.
Maybe.
You never know. But other than that, that's all I got, Mike.
I love how that was elusive.
All right, Lacey. Well, it would only be proper to let our final segment guest plug all her stuff too. So what do you got out there? Everyone should know who you are if they're listening to us. So what do you got for people to listen to?
Well, to be honest, I didn't come on just to plug my shit. I came out to hang out with you guys. So if you don't know me, then whatever. So there's that.
She's Lacey motherfucking Lou.
Like, honestly, like, I'm not here to plug my shit. I came to hang out with you guys. If you don't know me, and if you want to know me, then you know where to find me.
We're all on the same network, people.
Honestly, like, we're all friends. We all plug each other's shit. Like, cut to the chase. That's it. Like, look that up on Anchor. Then you can find everything. Like, yes, I have multiple episodes coming out. We have the 12 Days of Chasemas, but other than that, I don't need to plug my shit. I love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me party crash. I hope you guys plan on crashing the Slumber Party Massacre in 2023. We did have males crash in 2022, so all three of you are invited to crash the Slumber Party in 2023.
And and it would be poignant because I just bought Krampus pajamas. So I'm ready for a slumber party.
Yes! Are they footies?
No, I'm too big for footies. I don't think they make them in my size.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be wearing my Reese's fucking slipper socks.
Nice.
Oh, you know what's I've had a pretty depressing year, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've lost a lot of people that are close to me, but I think the most depressing thing is learning I was allergic to peanut butter.
Oh no!
No!
Yeah, I ate a Reese's Pieces and I felt like ass, right? And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just like sick from not eating properly. And then so I ate Reese's, still felt like shit. I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Felt like more shit.
Real bad. And then to top it off, I was like, okay, just to test the theory. Like, I ordered ice cream from Baskin Robbins, right?
Peanut butter.
And I got and I get banana splits because I'm that immature of a person. I still get banana splits.
Hey, banana splits are awesome.
I had the hot fudge, I had the strawberry, and then you get to choose your other topping, and then it was the peanut butter topping, right?
Oh, boy.
And it was the same feeling. So I'm definitely allergic to peanut butter as an adult, which is unfortunate.
Did you break out, or did you feel pain?
It's painful. Like
midsection? Midsection left side?
Yeah, I don't, like, it's not like an upset stomach kind of thing.
But it's a sharp pain.
Yeah, I feel sick.
Okay, I believe
diverticulitis.
No, I'm being serious here. Lacey, I think you have gallbladder stones because that's exactly what I have. And the cholesterol level in peanut products flares up that pain.
Yeah? So you
might want to go to the doctor and get, because, anything with peanuts in it is going to be high cholesterol. And if you have gallbladder stones, cholesterol loosens those stones. And you can ask these guys. I've missed multiple episodes because of the pain that my gallbladder has given me over the years. So now,
it's not like super strong, and I asked my doctor about it.
Well, like I said, just have them do a scan of your midsection. I not an MRI. It's the one where you have to drink that stuff, that nasty white shit. But everything that you're describing to me sounds like you have gallbladder stones.
But it's only when I eat peanut butter.
Well, you probably don't eat a high cholesterol diet. Do you eat a lot of deep fried foods?
I eat a lot of pasta.
No, pasta doesn't have cholesterol. It's specifically cholesterol.
I do air fried food.
No, again, if you're not deep frying it, it's not gonna have a lot of cholesterol. I'm telling you, if
the peanut butter has a bunch of oil and shit in it.
100%. And the next time I guest, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, and because that's how it started for me. It only started a couple of years ago, and it wasn't a serious pain.
It's a weird pain. It's a weird pain.
Exactly. And does it move sometimes? Does it go from the right to the left?
No, it's literally just in one spot.
Okay, then
I feel like I'm gonna be sick, but then I'm not. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like
if you have
stones
sucks.
I love where this show's going.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, you guys.
There's definitely no room in hell for gallbladder stones.
No.
We'll talk about real shit.
For real.
Yeah, the only thing I had to add was fresh cuts. Our next episode is Violent Night. That episode and this will probably release soon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm, we are.
Is that even a horror movie?
Isn't that like
Kinda.
Kinda,
sorta.
Oh, that's right.
I guess no one's seen it yet but me.
We're going either today or tomorrow because I think it's almost midnight. So we'll say tomorrow. Today.
I'm going Sunday morning.
Well, as far as this show goes, for the rest of December, we might try to get a regularly scheduled
episode 50
program. Yeah, episode 50. If not, we'll record a commentary special and do episode 50 in January. Just kind of depends if we have time with the holidays to schedule like a regular episode and a commentary for the holiday. So we'll figure it out, but we should at least have something else for this month. So, Lacey, thanks for hanging out. I think we got a lot out of that segment.
I love you all so much.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 49 of No More Room in Hell. Thank you, everybody, and all the listeners. And let's say bye.
Bye. You go Stickless. Represent.
Stay out of the fucking cemetery.
Of terror.
And watch out for Day Parker.
Oh, damn.
Discount Georgie's.